used to say, sometimes you need to podcast something bad to stop you from podcasting something worse.
Very good.
Sure.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi. That was my best Mia Wasikowska impression, which was just very quiet and delicate.
I am happy to be here. I'm your Mia Wasikowska
Yes.
expert now. If you ever do Crimson Peak, I guess I'm locked in. That's the thing. Is that
Fuck. Yes. Wait
So-
a second. Alice,
and this?
This.
I fucking love Mia Wasikowska.
have we covered a third Wasikowska? Has there been a Wasikowska
Okay,
you
look,
weren't talking
Isn't it? It's Wasikowska.
I'm
or
trying
whatever.
to adjust
Okay.
in real time with each
Wasikowska.
additional time I say it.
Okay.
She's from Australia. I feel like it's been anglicized to some extent.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's
That
why
is
I
true.
thought split the difference. It's Wasikowska, but you think it's
Mia
Wasikowska.
Wasikowska. I mean, that's true. I think that is like the Polish. I don't.
Sure.
Look.
I'm Polish.
This
so.
is a mini series of us not pronouncing names correctly.
No.
I also have some Polish ancestry.
Right.
But
right. Which, in my defense, I don't pronounce gremlins correctly.
how do you pronounce it?
I go a little hard in the R. Gremlins.
Gremlins. So let's see. Okay, so you're saying like we did Alice in Wonderland, of course.
Yeah.
We're doing Stoker.
I'm saying,
What
is there
are
any
some
other movies
others?
she has appeared in that we've covered on the
Well,
podcast?
if
Or
we
is
do-
Emily 2 for 2 right now?
2 for 2.
Which I hope she is.
Yeah, I think yes. I think those are the only two.
Okay.
Of course, if we do Cronenberg,
Uh-huh.
she's in Maps to the Stars, I believe. If
Jarmusch
we
confirmed
do-
2024.
Right, if we do Jarmusch or Del Toro.
Oh, right. Yes. No, Crimson Peak would be an early.
Crimson Peak.
Right. That's what you
Crimson
said.
Peak.
Yes.
If we did Mira Nair, she's in Amelia.
Oh.
Young Mia.
Really?
She's
I thought you were
playing,
saying she was young Amelia.
She's playing she's like one of the sort of female aviators who are inspired, like
Okay.
who like she meets and
She
that's
plays one corner of the Bermuda Triangle.
that's right. Yes.
Please don't land here. Please.
I guess we could do Gus Van Sant. She's in Restless.
Right.
That seems like a stretch for us at this point, Van Sant.
Yeah.
We'll do Psycho one day, and then maybe we can talk Van Sant then.
Yeah, we could do Van Sant through the franchises. What other franchises does he have?
Well, he that's a good question. Has Gus Van Sant done any other franchises?
Wasn't like Elephant part of like a trilogy?
Yes, the Death Trilogy.
Yeah.
Elephant,
Do the Death Trilogy.
Elephant, Last Days
Yes.
and Paranoid Park, right?
I had a weird dream that there was a new elephant.
Like they like
Elephant Legacy. I was sitting there watching
I
and
don't
I was
think
like,
there's any funny way to pursue this conversation.
no, but my dream was me at a screening and I'm like, critics liked this?
No, I guess it's Jerry Elephant Last Days is the
Right,
Death Trilogy.
correct.
I would do that. Well, Elephant would be a really tough hang as a commentary. Jerry and Last Days would be more fun.
Sure.
Elephant is less fun.
You always
to,
got the Death Trilogy. I
discuss.
mean, more of a walking around. It's a Putters
Well,
and Murmurs trilogy.
It's a lot of
really.
walking. It's a lot of puttering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People do die. I should not be dismissive.
It's a tough movie. I haven't seen that movie in 20 years.
Which one?
It was Elephant.
I think it's a masterpiece.
I thought it was a masterpiece
have also
when I was a teenager.
never
Have
watched it
not
again.
seen
I'm terrified to
since.
ever watch it again.
At the time I saw it and was like, this is one of the best movies. And I've
Yeah.
never watched it
No.
again.
I mean, Emily, on
It's-
Oscar Watch, a lot of people had Elephant.
Yeah.
Fuck, what? Siggies. Signatures. Remember we
Siggies.
called them
Yeah,
Siggies?
Siggies. Yeah.
Siggies.
Because you would have your avatar,
Uh-huh.
right? That was your little profile
Jake
picture.
Sully. Yeah.
Exactly. But then a lot of people had signatures that they would custom make.
No. I'm
You hit the forum.
fucking try to
You hit the
big dog
forums.
me as if
I'm not big
but also,
dogging
it's not like that's the only forum that had that. The Palisades Toys forum had that, David. And I was posting up a storm there.
The collapse of Twitter and other social media platforms, you guys need to start a forum.
Let's go
It's
back to
time
message
to bring
boards.
back V-Bulletin.
Yes.
Maybe
I think
it
so.
is.
Yeah.
Oh God, I wonder if I still have the
We disown the subreddit.
if I would need to do some cardio again
I
to
just
get
saw
used
David's
to
eyes light up at the idea of fuck, could I still post the way I used to?
Am I still a supermod on Oscar
yes,
Watch?
I
Or they
believe
finally
so.
removed me?
Every
I see a
time-
supermod.
Every time there's an election, I go there because it's the one place I know how to process bad news for some reason. And they still talk in the NBA thread that you started in 2012. So that's your legacy.
That's
there,
your
is
legacy.
The NBA thread.
That will be the headline
I
when you
started
die,
an NBA
David, in your
thread in
obituary.
2012.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, I did a lot of stuff on that forum. Most of it embarrassing.
None of it.
None
of
of
it.
it embarrassing.
I do want to say at the time
anything.
I knew you as someone from the UK. And
That's
so
true.
when I started talking to you on AIM, you mentioned at one point that you had grown up in New York, and I literally said, wait, what? So
Used to be the opposite. I was the UK boy who actually
yeah.
had a little New York going for him.
He's using it.
I'm using the
folks.
tape measure.
I left a tape measure on David's desk, and it's now been worked into the episode as a
prop?
cool
I
prop.
know. Yeah, I know you've retired the bit, but at the time I didn't know I was doing the opposite of the bit. So I feel like it was a
Sure.
really great, like, long lead setup, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And
that is true.
Emily, just to sort of explain to you things that have changed since the last time you've been on the show, and this is stuff that has not been released on main feed yet, so you couldn't know. David doing a prop sound, like Foley work with the tape measure is clearly him reacting in insecurity to the fact that Ben has now become a slapstick guy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's
is
true.
the slapstick gone? No. Keep it away. Keep it away. All right, introduce our podcast. All right. Put
He
it
bought
back.
a literal slapstick. Also,
Wow.
Ben got his ear pierced.
You guys are fucking on the bleeding edge of this shit.
I think
You're-
people are really going to put together how out of order this series is by the amount of
right, this is deep.
which episodes have a lot of Ben
'cause-
earring discussion
Yeah,
on them.
I feel like this is a little bit later, and,
Yeah.
and so
Get
the
ready.
earring we've
Ben, do
all
you have your
been-
earring in? Can I see it?
Yeah,
Oh, shit. That
It's a
looks
little
great.
stunt.
That's
Yeah.
so good. That's
I
so
love
good.
it.
You look great.
I'm glad you
appreciate
love
that.
Yeah.
Bad Boy 2.0 era. You're saying that, David, as if I'm not going to bring up the earring every episode to every guest. But
Fair
what
enough.
podcast is this? This is Ben's earring with Griffin and David.
A disastrous rebrand we've settled on for some reason.
I'm Griffin.
I'm David.
It's a
And
podcast.
this is my earring.
That's Ben's earring. It's a podcast. The title's changed, but it's still a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their careers and are given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. Sometimes those checks clear, sometimes they bounce, baby, and sometimes
they get pierced.
I was going to say the exact same thing. We were both rushing to the same finish line there. This is a mini series on the films of Park Chan-Wook. It is entitled, I'm a podcast, but that's okay.
That's right. You
overruled.
losers.
Democracy.
Yep.
And today we're talking about Stoker, his to date only English language film.
Yes, he's done English language television, but this
Yes.
is the only film he's made in English language.
Yes.
Um,
And returning to the show.
Yep.
Returning champion.
Mhm.
One of our
Oh, wow.
favorite people.
Hello.
Emily St. James.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm thrilled. I had the thing going of bad movie or good movie, bad movie, and now I'm thrilled to break it with I just come on for me a Wasikowska shit.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
yeah.
one thing I do now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you need a hook. You need a hook. This it does fascinate me how divisive this movie is.
yeah, I love this fucking movie.
I love this
it.
movie too, but like the people who don't like this movie are still angry about it 10 years later.
Yeah.
Or like fucking Stoker.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Stoker.
this was a very polarizing movie. I think very, very, very stylish movies
Yes.
are always that kind of polarizing, where it's like, well, I can tell this is stylish,
Right.
So
It's doing a thing.
right, and if the story doesn't vibe for you, you
Right.
can really easily lean into kind of like all style, no sub. All sizzle,
It's
no
almost
steak,
your
blah, blah, blah.
Malkovich sun-dried tomatoes analogy.
Please remind me. Oh, yes. Or I called him a sun-dried tomato actor. He is a sun-dried tomato actor.
Right. And you're like, sometimes that's not the sandwich you want sun-dried tomatoes on.
Well,
and it's going to
also,
overpower.
You might just want one or two on your
Yes.
sandwich.
Yes.
And sometimes Malkovich is going to put 40 on your
Right.
sandwich. Right.
This movie feels like the Speed Racer of abusive family movies.
I
like
think that's fair to say.
Yeah, the editing is it's so similar to Speed Racer. I was
Yeah.
watching it last night with some friends, and
Yeah.
we were like, yeah.
Richard Roundtree does live commentary over most of the dialogue scenes.
And look,
What?
in the hands of someone, I like this movie a lot.
I love this one.
In the hands, but I do think in the hands of somebody else,
Yes.
this movie could be just the purest nonsense. Like just so bad. Maybe not so bad, but
Yeah.
just like a real bit of twaddle to
I
use
do
an English
like the
expression.
script, but you're also, you do
I don't
watch
mind the
it.
script, but it's a bit of a genre
Oh,
exercise.
it is. It is. And you watch it and you're just like, God, they were smart to get him to do this.
Yes. I just think of, whatever. I don't know who your replacement level director is.
No.
I used to cite Ratner, but I feel like Ratner is now like too
He's too
problematic.
loaded.
Yeah,
Yes.
to actually.
Right. Who's
your
the
kinda, like,
non-problematic Ratner?
Your
Who's
C- director.
Louis Leterrier.
But like Louis Leterrier makes action movies. Like Louis Leterrier
I
is
know.
probably not going to make a tense Hitchcockian thriller.
But David, hear me out. What if Louis
in
Leterrier
this movie,
made Stoker?
they don't think it'd be
Made
very
Stoker
good.
Legacy.
I think the Russo brothers would make this movie.
Yes.
They would. And it would be, I don't know what it would be. It'd be something.
But I'm now
it's funny
convinced
that
that
they
they
are-
are terrible filmmakers unless they have really, really strong other stuff around them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like not just replacement level. I think they're bad.
Yeah, but that's what's wild is you're like, they are the directors of like the most successful movies of all time, basically. And now we're like, are they competent? And
I genuinely like their Community shit was so well directed.
this is the thing.
I think there were just I'm really starting to feel like there were a lot of other people helping.
I think
Beyond the fact they had a good script on their hands with that stuff.
I think it's the showrunner thing. I think it is like, I think they are very good if someone else is giving them the vision. Anytime they're like, who are we as filmmakers? You're like, they have nothing to say.
Well, also now they've become moguls.
Yes.
Or
Well, the mogul
whatever.
thing I hate.
Right.
But I'm like, if there is a Feige, if there is a Harmon, you know, if there is a Hurwitz or whatever.
Well, they broke through under Soderbergh. So
Yes.
like Soderbergh was like shepherding them.
He was.
And then they kind of had a dry
They
period.
were
Then they
welcome
had
to Collinwood.
They welcomed us. And people said, I'm busy that day.
Can't find it on the map. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Stoker. You know, it just sure. If the Russos made Stoker, I don't know if it would be very good.
I was thinking about this script was on the Blacklist. It was
Yes,
like really
sure was.
high. And it's just like, I don't know. I love this movie. I think it's a good script. I can't imagine like Hollywood executives reading this and being like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's
But
great.
This is the thing with the Blacklist.
Right.
You have to think about it's being voted on less by executives and more by readers, right?
Sure.
Who have to read every fucking thing that comes through. So if you read a script that is just compellingly weird, it's going to jump straight up your list because you're like sitting there fucking like falling asleep at your desk reading a million scripts. Even if they're functional, they're all probably a little bit similar. They fall into clean silos. And then if you read something like this where you're like, what the fuck is going on? You're not going to forget the Stoker script.
It's also a script where you have 3 roles where you can just imagine, you know, like 3 opportunities for
Right.
a zillion different actors to pop.
Because this was very nearly...
There is no like bland role in Stoker.
This was very nearly Carey Mulligan, Colin Firth, Jodie Foster.
Oh yeah.
Carey Mulligan, Colin Firth.
That's what's wild. And you're like...
Firth's too old for that.
3 very different... All 3 of them
Jodie
are older than the
Foster.
3 people who ended up in the movie. It
Yeah.
ages the whole thing another like 7 or 8 years, if not 10.
Yeah,
and
and
you're
that would
like-
be like post and educate. Like Carey Mulligan's in her mid-20s. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But you're like, right, you could do this exercise where you could just keep on coming up with 3 people to play those parts.
Is this the best movie that was big on script that was big on the Blacklist that wasn't already like Social Network was big on the Blacklist, but that was already being made. Like it's kind of like this and Passengers and the fucking what was the
Juno, Lars and the Real Girl. I'm trying to think of other ones that were like the top script
All right,
or in
some
that
famous
top 5.
Blacklist scripts.
Yeah.
Oh, there's too many though.
Give me the number ones. Give us some highlights of the number
Can
ones.
we also just give people a sense of what the
The
Blacklist
Blacklist is what I was sort of explaining. It was this thing that was started by this guy Franklin Leonard that was like, we should make a list of the best unproduced screenplays to give them like their flowers. And it started as a poll of like an email list of 100 assistants and readers at studios and production companies and going like, what are the 10 best scripts you read this year? And then the list is which ones got the most votes.
Okay.
And it started like mid 2000s. And then it became a thing where like, if something is the number 1 Blacklist script of the year, it gets produced.
But that's honestly not true at all.
For a moment, it was.
Here are the screenplays on top of the Blacklist, starting from 2005. The 2005 number 1 was Things We Lost in the Fire,
Right.
which was turned into an honestly underrated movie, but not a hit, obviously.
Yes.
Then something called The Brigands of Rattleborge. Big L for the Blacklist on that one.
Uh-huh.
Then Recount, which of course was turned into a
the J. Roach.
TV film.
Yeah.
Yes. Then The Beaver, a famous
yes
Blacklist number 1,
But
where it was like,
also-
you can't believe how crazy this thing is. Yes.
A perfect example of you read that script and you go like, holy fucking
I certainly
shit.
haven't read anything like this.
This is
Right,
that
yeah.
was a period where I was auditioning a lot, not to humble brag, when people still wanted me to be in things, or at least were interested in considering me. And I remember reading that script and being like, holy shit, this is the best script I've ever read. And in retrospect, you're like, it's just weird.
It's very weird. He's got a beaver. He talks through the beaver.
But in a year where you're reading like 100 scripts,
No, 100%.
yeah.
I remember hearing about that script and being like, this is gonna be such a great movie. And then it came out and I was like, this is actually kind of fucking weird and I don't want to see it at all.
But also was an
Kyle
example
Killen.
of like every single fucking pairing of director and actor possible before they landed on Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster.
Well, okay. Next, The Muppet Man, which is a famous Jim Henson biopic, right?
is
That's never been made.
Horrendous. Have you read that script, Emily?
I have.
So the guy famously was like, yeah, I didn't do any research.
Mm.
I just like wrote a narrative of what I
Vibes.
thought his life might have been.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's really bad, and people read it and they were like, "What an interesting life Jim Henson had." And I'm like, "Bullshit!" And not even like a creative
okay.
like reimagining, just sort of laziness.
Then a script called
But to say, Muppet Man, Disney bought
Griff. We're gonna
to
keep
prevent
moving.
it from getting made.
Sure,
It will
okay,
never.
we're
get
gonna
made.
keep moving. Okay,
Yes.
College Republicans, which I believe is like a Carl Rove
That
biopic.
very nearly got made.
Never got made.
That was going to be a Dano Shia thing. I forget who was going to direct it.
sure. The Imitation Game, which
Yes,
was made,
Wins an Oscar
it did win an Oscar
for the screenplay.
Stoker's better than that.
Incredibly bizarre screenplay winner. Yes.
Yes.
A little movie called I'm seeing here Draft Day
Mm.
was number 1 on the
Yep.
Blacklist.
Yes, sir. Only reason it got made.
Then the year after that was a film called Holland, Michigan that I think is finally being made.
Oh wow.
Starring Nicole Kidman of all people.
Okay.
Then something called Catherine the Great, which I think is a biopic about the Queen of Russia.
Yeah.
Never got made, but that was one definitely where like a lot of big A-list actresses
Yes.
were, something called Bubbles. Is that about Michael Jackson's monkey?
Correct.
Yes, yes,
That
it is.
nearly
I remember
got
that
made.
one. I remember that one floating around.
Taika Waititi was going to do it as a stop motion film,
That
and
sounds
then
just wonderful.
when whatever it's called, Leaving Neverland came out,
Yeah, they were like,
they were like a month away, I think, from starting animation.
there was a film called Blonde Ambition that was a Madonna movie, I believe.
That's the one that she was going to direct.
right.
But
And
after
I'm sure
she
that's
rewrote it.
definitely going to happen still.
Oh, it's never happening.
A movie called Ruin, which I think was like a World War II movie that Gal Gadot was attached to at some point.
Okay.
Movie called Frat Boy Genius. Don't know what that is.
No.
It's about a frat boy genius.
It's about Snapchat founder Evan Spiegel. Something called Move On, something called Headhunter. I just want to shout out Cauliflower, which was on top of, I think, the 2021 list written by my friend Dan Jackson.
Okay.
And Pure is the most, like, obviously, most of these scripts have not
Yeah.
yet been made because that's how it works.
But some of the other ones, I guess,
There's lots of other.
We're in the
you
top-
know, Argo was on
Yes.
was a Blacklist script. Blood Diamond.
Yes.
Charlie Wilson's. I don't know. There's been
Right.
a zillion Blacklist
Yes.
scripts.
but
Juno,
yeah,
like you said, that's
I
a
feel like
famous
they're a
one.
combination now of like, now there are a lot of films that I feel like the script's written, they don't put it into production because they're waiting to get the Blacklist bump, even though it's gonna get made.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple per year where you're like, this is an actual discovery.
Yeah.
This is a movie that would not have gotten greenlit if not for The Shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Stoker was sort of like a real discovery. People were like, what is this?
Well, and then it has this, whole narrative of like, well, Wentworth Miller, you know him from Prison Break. The prison is tattooed on his body, but he wrote it under a pseudonym.
Yes.
Like,
So when it's on the Blacklist,
he
that's
got
when
it up
people
there
found
without
out. Like,
without his name.
Yes.
Yeah, right. That's how good it is.
yeah.
Now, I love Stoker, but I'm glad we can do some Prison Break talk. Let's
Yes.
just
Let's
pencil
dig
that
in.
in.
Now,
Yeah.
we once, Emily and I remember.
Emily just unfurled the
we used
blueprints
to
of
wait. Have you
prison, by the
introduced our
way.
guest? Yeah, you
Emily
did,
St.
yeah.
James.
Emily St. James.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not my name.
Yeah. Okay. I sometimes I just lose track.
Of course. It's like brushing your teeth
At
every
this
day.
point, I am best known for doing this podcast. There's so many people who are like, I love your blank
Oh, yeah,
check appearances.
I
Yeah.
should list your credits, of course.
that's fine.
Alice
You
in
do.
Wonderland, Silence
Yeah.
of the Lambs.
There's a few others.
Yeah. Why am I forgetting the other ones?
I mean,
Munich.
Munich.
Yeah. The Thing and Christmas Carol.
It's
Christmas Carol.
that's a chaotic.
Those Zemeckis episodes are just like
Yeah,
a
that's-
blur to me.
yes.
Don't remember those at all.
No.
Some people say those are our best episodes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess you want me to lose my mind.
One of the best moments, the standout moments in the Back to the Future episode where I forgot to cut out a 10-minute bathroom break.
Yeah.
And people were like, "This is funny that they did this." And I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, very
really
intentional.
committing to the bit.
The ultimate Ben bit.
I remember we used to say that the pilot of Prison Break was the best thing Brett Ratner ever directed.
Yeah.
And then Tower
I
Heist
might
came out.
stick by that. Yeah, that's true.
Had to
Prison
eat your
Break
shoe.
Prison Break season 1, no, not good. Prison Break's episode 1 to 13, good. I think after 13, where they had gotten the pickup and they were like, "Fuck, okay, we can't have them break out till the finale." now."
Yeah.
Like they clearly built the story to be like, well, if we get canceled, they can break out at 13. you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
And then at 13, they're like, we're going to do it. And then there's like a pipe in the way. And they're like, fuck. And you're like,
Never considered
and
the
I remember
pipe.
there being like 8 more episodes of them being like, how do we get rid of the pipe? And you're just like, okay.
How many seasons did they ultimately do?
5.
And did they do a reboot or did they threaten
They did 4 in the original run.
That's
they
right.
did a 5th season reboot.
They also did a movie called The Final Break.
Oh.
Wasn't there a
the Final
threat
Break.
of doing like Prison Break Legacy a couple years ago and Wentworth Miller said like, I will never go back?
I think so.
He seems like Yeah, someone who maybe doesn't love everything about the process of making television, right?
Beyond that, I think he hated the experience of being famous. He's talked a lot about that.
Because he was also obviously in the Flashiverse. And
Yeah.
I feel like
Yes.
he
seemed to enjoy that more.
enjoyed it, but it would be like he was a lead in Legends of Tomorrow, and then very quickly he was like, I don't want to be a lead. Like I'll recur. Like I'll show up sometimes.
He was that weird thing. I think we invoked this in some episode recently where they gave him like a series regular deal across all the series. Right, and they were like, in totality, you will end up doing a little bit under a season's worth of episodes, but we'll spread them out over different shows.
The thing about TV right now is that Prison Break would be like an 8-episode limited series. It would probably be a stronger story, but I feel like we're all nostalgic. I'm maybe just speaking for myself. For the time when you get to episode 13, there would be a pipe, and because they have to keep going for an indefinite period of time.
You and I, I'm sure, are very nostalgic for TV scheduling, which no longer matters. But no, you too, 100%. But Emily and I just used to talk about this a lot.
Because I wasn't on
the whole
Oscar
watch who's gonna get Tuesday at 9?
Yes.
Whatever. And sweeps week.
Yeah.
They still do sweeps? Do they do sweeps?
Yes.
But
it's just kind of we don't know about it anymore because who cares?
When my baby was born just before November, I was so fucking mad that she wasn't born in sweeps month. I was just like, would have been a big event.
A sweeps baby.
I watched when I had a child.
Yeah.
In those really dazed first 6 months. I watched
during the Zemeckis era.
6 or 7 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. We just put it on.
I watched ER.
Well,
it's medical drama time when you have a baby.
100%. And I remember just some, episode of Grey's was very dramatic, and I was like, this must have been a sweeps episode.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, God, this is so boring to explain, but and then I just feel like I guess that probably still does. I'm watching Abbott Elementary and they kiss.
It still does
I should be
happen.
putting together this is a sweeps week episode.
I think it happens on the procedurals more than anything else.
Right. That's when you do a crossover.
I think CBS hits sweeps big. David, you started to say this and I shut you up because I said you need to save this for Mike, but you just built the transition point.
Oh, my wife.
Your wife. This being the weirdest miniseries so far of your wife walking in and saying, what are you watching?
Well, it's more like, look, I don't know. I only have so much time. So yes, sometimes I'm like, look, I have to watch this movie tonight, doing a podcast on it.
Sure.
And usually either she will watch with me or she will look at her computer, or whatever, and sort of pay some attention. But with Park Chan-Wook, with Stoker, actively disturbed, obviously. It's not a chill movie at all.
Was she actively watching or was she coming in and out?
She was, with Stoker, she was paying more attention. I would say, it's easier to grab. It's like, hey, that's Nicole Kidman. Hey, I know Matthew Good, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I had Old Boy on because we're doing Old Boy soon. And at one point, not spoilers for Old Boy, but she just looked up to see, a hammer claw in someone's teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you might not want to. And she was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I was like,
and you were like, hey, don't worry. It has a very unhappy ending. It has one of the most famously fucked up endings of all time.
She definitely looked up for the octopus eating, the hammer tooth removal. And then she's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm leaving the room. But anyway, no. Stoker, I was like, that was the thing. I was like, honestly, Stoker, one of the more watchable Park Chan-Wook movies in terms of just chillness.
It's kind of gripping.
It's
hard
gripping.
to look away from.
Yeah.
Once you're watching.
I mean,
but that's
you talk. It's
the fucking the style of this thing.
Yeah.
It is grabbing. Emily, you're a big Park Chan-Wook fan in general.
Love him.
I feel like you were stumping big for him during March Madness. Very often, in fact, the person you stump for has won.
I just have my finger on the pulse of America, I gotta say. Yeah.
But Demi was one you were pushing really hard.
Yeah. I pushed Demi and Zemeckis, and then the
right. You were also a big Zemeckis person.
Yeah. Then the year of the whatever it was, the 4 brackets, the thing where I picked Joe Johnston, and without that year, I got everything wrong. But
you knew Joe Johnston was.
I knew Joe Johnston wasn't going to win.
I mean, I would love to do Joe Johnston, to be clear.
Sure. Did you also sort of shift your votes over to Carpenter at the point Joe Johnston was eliminated? You're gonna go pee?
You gotta pee. You guys talk.
I did vote. I did push Carpenter.
Wait,
but
Emily, sorry, quickly.
No.
What is the worst thing that David ever posted on the Oscar Watch
What is
Farms?
the worst thing?
Can you think of the worst prediction he ever made?
Oh my God, let me think. He was. Oh God, he very much was like,
there's no like catastrophically bad, like me turning to my dad and saying that Pay It Forward is going to sweep the big five.
No, the thing about David was he was always like very detached and like kind of above it all. And
Even back then?
yeah.
God.
I will say this. He at the time hated the Lord of the Rings movies. Hated is strong, but like he was like, these are 3 out of 5, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he boosts them hard.
Now he
He's
loves
like,
them.
of course,
Yeah.
they're classics.
Yeah, I've seen that. But yeah, at the time.
Was he dismissive at the prospect of them like winning Best Picture?
Kind of, yeah. He was like, when it was clear Return of the King was going to win, he was like, I'm not happy about this. What's happening?
Beautiful, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
the thing we were talking about.
Had to pee. I forgot to pee.
No, of course.
Joe Johnston. Wait. Oh no, what were you guys talking about now?
Shifted your votes over to Carpenter, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and like this year, I think I was boosting Satoshi Kon at first, but then
Sure.
I was like, I was also very big on Park Chan-Wook. He's one of my favorite. He was on my long list of people I thought about picking in 2021, whatever year that was. And then David was so excited about Joe Johnston. I was like,
It was a fun, chaotic pick.
Yeah.
It was chaotic in its normalcy, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And it's also just one of those things where you're like, Joe Johnston, like, what are you talking? And then you look at the filmography and you're like, huh?
I watched Nutcracker in the Four Realms for the first time last year and had a blast.
And
I had a blast.
David, thanks you for the residual payment.
I hope you liked your 2 cents.
Joe Johnston, just to be clear, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Mhm.
Big guarantor.
Yeah.
The Rocketeer, great bounce.
Yes.
Good movie, underrated, blah, blah, blah.
Vindicated.
The Page Master, I think he might be a co-director on that one
He
or
directed the
something.
live
He does the
action.
live action, but that
Yeah.
counts.
Well,
Weird movie.
We do that on Patreon.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Jumanji,
Yeah.
franchise starter.
Yeah. Took a while, but yeah.
October Sky, underrated gem.
Sure.
Jurassic Park 3, unfairly maligned, good movie.
You and I both
fun.
agree the best of the sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that too.
Yeah.
I think I do.
Hidalgo, okay, whatever.
But also
There's
like
always a Hidalgo.
colossal bomb.
Big bomb, post Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
failure, sort of a thing, if for Vigo.
Right.
The Wolfman, famous bounce.
Yes.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Captain America, the First Avenger, sort of becoming like maybe the best Marvel movie, like in retrospect, just for its smallness.
It's going up there. Yeah.
Something called Not Safe for Work is tough. Don't know what that is.
What?
Is that one of the mini movies about
Max
like
Minghella is in it.
killing people in an office park?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Some kind of office set action thriller.
Weird.
And then Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Ben's just bored. Ben's just fucking buying
He
candles
keeps on
online
threatening
right
to
now.
retire and has like a couple times called
Ben?
what his final film would be. And then every time he does that, the movie doesn't happen.
Uh-huh.
So he was supposed to do the 4th Narnia movie. There was the announced Honey, I Shrunk the
Fourth
Kids
Narnia.
reboot that didn't happen because Moranis pulled out when the pandemic hit.
Right.
I feel like there's one other one where he was like, I'm making
You're
this.
saying
And then
Honey,
it's,
I Shrunk the Kids. You said kids. For
Oh, he's-
shorthand.
he's
and I
rebooting Kids.
got really excited.
No, Ben,
I
I'm
was
sorry.
like, wait.
I was-
The rebooting Kids, good news, but Joe Johnston
Yeah.
is on it.
Ben, I'm very sorry. He was rebooting Harmony Korine's Kids with Rick Moranis.
What if he did Honey, I Shrunk Harmony Korine's Kids?
That's the fucking Emily. If you went and pitched that tomorrow, Disney would give you $20 million.
I think they
and
own
then
the rights
hire
to
AI
both.
to write it. But that is the exact fresh take we need on both franchises. Which let's just say, Kids has been really fucking up as a franchise.
Are they going to do a fourth? I guess there's no way they
fourth-
can do a fourth Narnia because like all the kids are old now. They would have to just start again.
Now they're saying they're going to hard reboot. I think someone just announced they're fucking rebooting it.
Don't do Narnia.
Don't
Just
do it.
don't do it.
Possible Netflix reboot. The 3 worst words in the English
Can't
language.
wait. I can't fucking wait.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is like the one of those books that's like
Yeah.
vaguely
Adaptable.
movie-like. The rest of them are just like, what if the Bible was weirder and had
Right.
more animals?
And they don't flow into each other
No.
normally, so like they don't. It has never lent itself to. What were they going to do? The Silver Chair next?
Correct.
Like
Joe Johnson was going to do the Silver Chair. There's also like not strong continuity of protagonists.
no, they're always swapping cousins in and shit.
A Horse and His Boy has a ton of racism. Magician's Nephew is like my favorite of those, but it's just like, what if this guy just made a bunch of stuff? That's like not a
That's
movie.
like the
Yeah.
prequel, right?
Yeah,
That's the one that's like
it's like the
Right.
creation myth.
right,
Yeah.
right. Griffin, I'm not going to wait anymore for you to speak because a game where no one wins is the waiting game. And when it comes to hiring, you don't wait for great talent to find you. You find them first with Indeed. Because when you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed is a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that find you match candidates. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. That's according to Indeed Data US. Look, if you're using Indeed, you're going to find candidates you invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search. This is if you're using the Indeed hiring platform. They're going to get you one step closer to the hire by immediately matching you quality candidates and do the hard work for you, showing you candidates whose resumes on Indeed fit your description immediately after you post so you can hire faster. It's the only job site where you can pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements. So you should join the 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/check. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/check. Just go to Indeed.com/check and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/check. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. So we're rebooting Narnia. So good news for us. No, Stoker. We're doing Stoker.
I remember you in one of your very impassioned, well-written sort of Twitter threads making the case for Park when he was proceeding along. You made the point of just like he is one of the few people who makes movies that are still genuinely sexy and sexual.
Yes. And yet not in a way that is off-putting to people. Like The Handmaid's my favorite of his films, and it's one of the few movies about queer feminine desire made by a man that does not feel lecherous or male gazy in any way, really. Yeah. Which is fascinating. I love that he is interested in sort of our lizard brains and how affected they are by violence and sex. Yes. But also
good way to put it. Yeah.
He's very good at not making that salacious is the wrong word, at not making that feel exploitative. He's like interested in examining that and giving you the joy of violence and sex, but also like making you pull back and be like, wait, why am I into this?
The quotes of like, movies make violence look cool. You cannot make violence that isn't somewhat cool and whatever. I do think he is this guy who is able to leave that bad taste in your mouth in the way he wants. But I had the thought, I was thinking about your thread and sort of making that case for the way he's able to depict sexuality cinematically in a way that's kind of unique, especially amongst living directors. But I kept, while watching this movie, thinking, like, he can literally make any single thing feel like a sex scene.
There's the scene in this movie where India Stoker, Mia Wasikowska's character, steps into the stiletto heels and is simultaneously extremely sexy and extremely creepy. And I feel like that's the Park Chan-Wook like Venn diagram.
Right.
But it's like he can make someone peeling an apple feel like it's like watching like hardcore pornography. Right.
But this is also a movie where someone does a murder and then jerks off in the shower.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, sort of does a
hasn't,
murder.
Though.
Some sort of. We guys sort of is. Witnesses slightly participates in a murder.
Be shy, do crimes.
So Stoker, let me give you some background on Stoker, which is Park Chan-Wook's follow-up to Thirst, correct? Yes. Right?
Thirst is before this?
Thirst is certainly before
We're jumping ahead in
I
our
can tell you that much.
Because Emily's
just trying to remember if there's anything. No, it goes Thirst to Stoker. Okay, so post-Thirst, Park's sort of like, I don't have anything in particular lined up. Maybe I'll chill, take it easy.
Watch Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, maybe I'll throw on some sort of mid-season, mid-run Greys.
Yeah.
Once Kevin McKidd shows up.
Steamy years.
The Axe is then announced as his next film, a remake of a Costa Gavras French thriller.
Interesting.
A sort of political genre film. But then that gets dumped. That remains a sort of like, I'd like to make that in my lifetime project for him. Like he talks about it, like he was like during the Decision to Leave Fresh tour. I think he was still like, I still like to make The Axe.
Okay.
Who knows? in between Thirst and Stoker, he also makes short films. He's made a lot of short films. I don't know if you've sort of dived into this.
Yes.
A lot of like sometimes in anthologies, sometimes
Right.
like basically as sort of ads, like
Yeah.
like in partnership with some, like Apple or something, he'll make a little thingy.
3 Extremes, is that the omnibus he's a part of?
Yes.
Okay.
The things he made first was called Night Fishing. He made it with his younger brother.
Right.
Shot it on an iPhone 4 about
Right,
a fisherman
that
who
was-
catches a dead woman.
That was a big, like, Apple gave him money to prove you could make a good movie on an iPhone thing,
Correct.
right? Yes.
Correct.
I remember that
It
making a
won
splash.
a short film award at the Berlin Film Festival.
Okay.
The second is part of an anthology called 30 Seconds of Solitude in Year Zero. So I guess that's like where every film is a 60-second movie.
Cool.
60 Seconds of Solitude. Did I say 30?
Yeah.
So he did.
Snapchat the
Okay,
movie.
so that barely
Okay.
counts.
Yeah.
And then something else also with his younger brother is called Day Trip. It's an 18-minute short developed for an outdoor brand, Sports.
Okay.
Stars Song Kang-ho, his
Okay.
frequent collaborator. It's actually the last time they've worked together,
Wow.
unless they work together again.
Uh-huh.
I don't know much else.
Does he only work with his younger brother on the short films?
Possibly.
A little condescending.
Hey, I'm doing a shorty.
Yeah.
So over to Stoker.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Wentworth Miller of Prison Break fame.
Yes.
Captain Cold himself.
And I heard he got the entire script tattooed on his chest first.
Young
That was
Anthony Hopkins from The Human Stain. We all remember.
look the same.
I just want to note that in the second season of Prison Break, there's a character named Haywire, very sensitive, who looks at a painting of a boat and then decides to sail to Europe across a lake.
I absolutely remember that. But the whole thing
Great
with
plot.
the second season of Prison Break was they broke out a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm.
And some of them, they were clearly like, okay, like these guys aren't going to be in the core Prison Break group.
Sure.
So they had to do things like that where Haywire is like, I think I'm going to get in a sailboat.
Yeah.
Um,
He just never appears again.
that is probably a show that is aged poorly.
Terribly.
Like, I can't imagine Teabag is a character that resonates now.
Teabag. How did he
How'd he get the
earn,
name?
the name Teabag?
I mean, Teabag is sort of like he's the arch villain in a way, right? Like he's a white supremacist, he's a psychopath.
I feel like people pitch a lot of guests you should have on the show. Let me just make my pitch for Robert Knepper, Teabag from TV's
sure.
Prison Break. I think he'd be great.
In
He'd be great.
character as Teabag.
Wentworth Miller,
Yes.
he is known as the what's the character called on Prison? Lincoln Burrows. No, that's Dominic Purcell.
Yeah.
Michael Schofield.
Yes.
Right. They had different last names despite being brothers.
The human map.
He was a human map. And then in season 2, they did try to be like, there's actually more to the tattoo. We got to take I-95 or whatever, like it was like the earth was on
We
it.
never checked the butt crack. Spread those cheeks.
What a
Take out a
stupid
magnifying
show.
glass. It's done in smaller.
Just one of those classic, like the reveal is in the pilot. Oh, the tattoos are a map. And everyone's like, great reveal. How do you do that long term?
Yeah.
And the writers were like, no, we
got
have
this.
ideas.
got this.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Wait,
We got plenty of ideas.
he was wearing socks the whole time? What's at the bottom of the feet?
So Wentworth Miller attended Princeton University. Humble brag.
Nice education if you can get it.
He apparently said he did a creative writing program there
Okay.
and was rejected, and sort of this convinced him like, I'll never be a writer, like I shouldn't even think about that. So into his 30s, he was sort of like down on himself as a writer. And then he says, late one night when my DVR was tapped out. Remember when your DVR would get tapped out?
Yeah. The original reached the end of Netflix.
Exactly. I thought, what if I write a scene? Like, he'd always had this idea for this movie. I think. What if I write a scene? Who's going to know? 4 or 5 weeks later, I had the whole thing. He
Wow.
says.
And he's like mid Prison Break run at this point.
Yeah, I would assume so. What are the years on Prison Break?
Prison
It's
Break's like 2006 to 2010, I think.
2005 to 2009.
Okay.
We were
Okay.
close.
Okay, so
And then,
it-
of course, 2017 for Prison Break season 5, which we all waited for.
It's
with bated
ended
breath.
at this point then?
Yeah, maybe it's like, I'm not sure. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure exactly when he wrote it. But his idea is, what if I mash up Shadow of a Doubt, the Hitchcock film, which this film is quite obviously sort of connected to. The Stepfather, the classic 80s trash masterpiece with Terry O'Quinn.
Yes.
Very fun movie about a bad stepfather.
Remade with one of the Nip Tuck guys?
Yes. The fucking other one, not Doctor Doom. What's the other one called?
Oh,
Dylan Walsh?
There you go.
Dylan Walsh.
From Congo.
Let's all retire. And then a sprinkling
This
of...
is the problem when you come on the show, Emily, is it's three people who all have this same stupid knowledge base.
Yeah.
And then a sprinkling of Dracula, essentially. A sprinkling of like, oh, what if we give it kind of a vampiric, edge?
Bit of a hat tip in the title.
Down to the Stoker title, exactly.
It was funny, though. I remember just even when this was announced as like the Blacklist breakout, people were like, so is it secretly a vampire movie? And they had to keep on being like, no, it's just a tip of the hat.
Yeah.
But even throughout all the marketing, I think people were like, and he's going to turn out to be Dracula at the end, right?
Right. Some people wondered if it was that, but of course, Wentworth Miller, who's one of those guys who I've always felt, and I say this in a nice way, feels like kind of dumb smart or smart dumb. You know what I mean? It's not about vampires. It was never meant to be about vampires, but it is a horror story. A stoker is one who stokes, which also ties nicely in with the narrative. All right.
You can't say he's wrong, Dave.
No. There's stoking happening in the film.
The person who got me into this movie is David and my mutual friend Genevieve Valentine, who
how is Genevieve?
She fucking adores this movie, and
this is a very Genevieve Valentine.
Her read on it. She has a very cool read on it as a vampire story specifically, but I don't remember all the ins and outs.
Sure,
so,
but I mean, obviously, right? Like there is, there is sort of just a gothic air being lent to everything anyway, and so I think he liked that title. He writes it pretty quickly. And he's sort of at that point was kind of like, I just wanted to hand it off. Like, I don't want to direct it or anything or act in it. Like, I just sort of wanted to hand it off. He says the soundtrack for writing the film was Philip Glass's The Hours score.
Makes
Classic
sense.
score. Morning Passages. The Poet Acts. Just naming some tracks from The Hours score. Script gets hot, makes the 2010 Blacklist. So yeah, this must have been right when Prison Break was over.
Sure.
Gets a distribution deal. Scott-free signs on. Ridley and Tony's production company. And then he is revealed as Ted Folk, the sort of pseudonym.
And that's sort of when I feel like the hype on this thing goes like supernova.
Yes.
Where it's like,
what?
You already have the buzzy Blacklist thing. Then like huge producers are attached. And then it becomes this like, did you know that he...
This is actually the map guy from Prison Break?
Yes.
Now, if Dominic Purcell had written it, that would have blown my mind. Big potato man.
Smart.
He has also written a prequel script called Uncle Charlie that has never been made.
Right.
Probably because this film made like, $2 million at the box office or whatever. So it's not like people are like, Stoker, prequel.
But that's like, no,
I'd read it.
We're going to say, Emily.
This is a Fox Searchlight picture, which means that Disney now owns it, and they're
Yes.
big on IP.
Stoker
so
Legacy.
Uncle Charlie could get made.
Stoker Origins.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Stoker, the rise of Uncle Charlie.
Okay. So Park Chan-Wook, obviously at this point, fairly major international name, has never made an English language project, but I imagine he just had gotten to that point where a lot of scripts would probably get sent his way.
Perhaps
Hollywood's
I'm wrong,
trying to tempt him over.
but I don't even remember there ever being like whispers of like, they're trying to get him for this. He's in talks for this. Like it felt like he, up until this point in time, seemed like a guy very happy working in his home country, not being lured by Hollywood, doesn't want to fall for the bait.
He says kind of a right place, right time thing. It comes in as he's finishing Thirst. He likes the script. He thinks it's in his comfort zone. So it's like, yes, I'll be trying something new by making an English film, but like it's the kind of story I make.
Yeah.
He's just intrigued. He also likes, much like I'm a suburb but that's okay. This is going to sound demented, but he likes that the protagonist is sort of his daughter's age. And he's like, make a film that she could relate to, essentially.
We've already found this narrative of Park Chan-Wook trying to relate to his daughter through movies and her being like, Dad, what do you think of me?
I mean, the thing with I'm a suburb, but that's okay. Is he's like, I made a movie for you. And she's like, thanks. I was more of a fan of like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
But no, he likes that the protagonist is a young woman around the age of his daughter.
Sure.
So even though it's an English language script, it is heavy on image, light on dialogue.
Yes.
And so that's another reason he's sort of like, well, this is a quiet script. I can bring in a lot of visual elements.
Well, just like,
I mean, of course he forgot to do it. This film's lacking in visuals.
Yes.
The camera never moves.
Fucking My Dinner with Andre over
molasses.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
When this movie opens,
Never crossfades.
when this movie opens basically with Mia Wasikowska explaining that she's like especially extreme responses to her senses, sensorial experiences. You're like, oh, this is like his perfect material of just like someone who like everything feels, sounds, you know, more extreme. Yes, because he's so good at that sort of like psychological tactility of like the surface of something, you know, the actual texture of a material, of a touch.
I think, look, I don't know to what extent the Scotts were involved too, but that's also kind of a Tony Scott thing. It's the same thing where like Tony Scott will shoot just a fucking street scene and you're kind of like, why is my chair rumbling? You know what I mean? Like it's just that the experience, the mere atmosphere will be enough to kind of set the noise machine off.
Park can like have a character in hyper close up like touch a piece of paper and you're like, why am I coming?
All right.
He's a sexual filmmaker. And
he absolutely is.
Arguably one of his most sexual films in a very sexual filmography.
They're all pretty sexual.
Yes. For not being that, for being less explicitly sexual. Yes.
Yeah. There's like 2 kisses in it.
Yes.
It's wild.
True. Yeah. There's not a lot of actual sex in it.
One post-murder shower jerk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a very Hitchcockian movie. He claims, oh no, that wasn't really what interested me, but all right, Park. The other deviation is this is probably the first movie he doesn't have a writing credit on. Because he would usually have a writing credit on his movies. But whatever.
Perfect script. No notes.
He did work on the script a little bit. He did talk to Wentworth before it.
He had a round of notes.
He also worked with his co-writer for the rewrites was Aaron Cressida Wilson, who wrote Secretary.
Yes, and then ends up writing the. Didn't she write something weird recently?
Let's look it up. She's a playwright as well. Yes. I think she's written a lot of plays. She wrote Chloe. Remember that one? Oh, she wrote Snow White.
Thank you.
The upcoming Mark Webb Snow White.
Yes.
She also wrote The Girl on the Train. Oh, she wrote Men, Women, and Children. It's a mixed bag over here.
Yeah.
He says that his revisions were small.
Okay.
But whatever. I don't know. All right. So, as you said, original 3, Jodie Foster, Carey Mulligan, Colin Firth, some cursed rumors about Johnny Depp as Uncle Charlie here.
And I don't even know, what would he have had to go off of in this character? There's just nothing popping on the page that he could latch onto and take.
Where's Depp at this point? I mean, I don't even know. It's just sort of like post The Tourist.
High? Well, because what?
No, this is not a high. This is like the same year as like The Lone Ranger.
Sure. This is him, because 2010 is Alice.
Yeah. And The Tourist.
Highest grossing film ever.
Well, and then you have 2011 Rango, Stranger Tides.
Right.
Rum Diary.
Right.
Then 2012 is Dark Shadows. 2013 is Lone Ranger. 2014 is Transcendence.
Right.
That's
where he's really hitting a wall. And Tourist is what? Is 2010 as well?
Yeah. 2010.
Okay.
But no, Mia Wasikowska. Okay, so she's been in Alice in Wonderland. She's in The Kids Are All Right.
Yes.
Sort of a forgotten film.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Totally good.
Good movie.
In my memory, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Solid.
She's in the Cary Fukunaga Jane Eyre.
Yes.
Another good movie, in my opinion.
I like it.
So she's just hot stuff, I feel like, right?
She has a fascinating career. There was a semi-recent IndieWire piece about her and how like, did you notice that she quietly stepped away from the industry?
Yeah, I feel like she took a few years. I mean, there was also just a lot of her.
That was the tone of the piece, though.
Right.
Like, there was like 8 years where she was nonstop everywhere and kind of was a bizarre movie star for someone who was so quiet, reactive, delicate.
Yeah, she made the Alice money.
Yes.
She made those 2 Alice movies. She made a bunch of money, and she was like, she kind of did the Robert Pattinson thing.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm going to just make weird indie passion projects.
Help the explorers get their things made.
Yeah.
But
she was the Rooney Mara of her very micro period, where it's like, if you want someone to play a wounded bird,
it wasn't that micro though. It was like
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
right?
then she basically was just like, I spent 5 years just living out of a suitcase. I worked nonstop. I did 6 movies a year.
Right. And
I was exhausted
in
and I
my
didn't know
early
who I
20s.
was.
Right. Yeah.
And she moved back to Australia and she's just like, occasionally something gets me off the couch. I will do Bergman Island.
I mean, she's incredible.
Right. That comes to me, I'll do it. But she's like, I'm not really seeking out jobs anymore. I dropped most of my representation. I'm back home in Australia. It has to really be a special thing. I have no interest in being a movie star.
Yeah. She really does not work that often.
Yet
she
she
does
still,
have.
every time she steps back on the court, she kind of nails it.
She had a film at Cannes this year, Club Zero, Jessica Hausner film that was very polarizing.
That was why I think she did this piece.
Right.
Yeah.
So, she's obvious casting, I feel like.
Yeah.
Park's very into a short film she made called I Love Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Apparently that was a big one for him.
That's the fucking...
He's like, she's very good at like minimal, like not overt expression, kind of like beneath the surface acting.
Is that the Hesher guy? That was a thing that was,
Yes.
It was a big fucking splash and it kind of made her career and made his career, that both of them off of that short, which went viral, started getting big deals.
Was that before In Treatment? What year was that?
I think
It's the same year, basically,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, obviously remember she was on In Treatment. She
Yeah.
was one of the treaties.
yes.
Yeah. She was
And,
the best part of season 1.
Right. And everyone was crazy about her
But
performance.
that was
right.
that was the springboard, really. I don't know. You keep on reading. Like, I feel like there's now constantly a stream of actresses doing press for new movies saying that they also auditioned or tested for Alice in Wonderland and really wanted that, weirdly.
Burton.
Wasikowska kind of came out of nowhere to get that part, even though like In Treatment was such a good performance and that short had gone viral. It was like, oh, you've like never been in an American film before and now you're like the star of a humongous fucking thing.
She nailed the Futterwacken, is what happened in the audition.
They did a Futterwacken test for everyone and she's the only one who was able to do it without CGI.
She's the only one who was able to react to the Futterwacken with anything but disgust.
Yeah, she held her vomit in, she swallowed it.
Nicole Kidman, I feel like just part of her long run of working with interesting directors, it feels like one of those that she says she was just offered the role. Like, they saw her.
It makes perfect sense. She's
And
the obvious
she knew
person
who
for
the
this
director
role.
was and was like, sounds great.
Yeah.
She said in their first meeting, he said to her about the script, like about the character, like, ever since you've held this baby's never wanted to be held.
Mhm.
Go from there. Good shit.
Yeah.
She'd seen like the Vengeance movie. She said, I do think I only saw half of Old Boy because I was like, oh my God, Forky vibes.
Yeah. Happy ending though, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And she was like, I'm sure it ends fine. I'm
Yeah.
turning us off. And then Matthew Good.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Matthew Good at this point? I feel like he is the
He's
least
pretty
known.
hot. He's pretty
but
hot at this
he's
moment.
getting kind of hot.
But he always, his career is so...
I guess Watchmen, the whole thing was that Watchmen
Yes.
kind of tanked him in a way because everyone was like, you were supposed to play the perfect man in that movie. And
Yeah.
like, that's tough to live up to.
His career is so oddly stop and starty where he just like every 5 years would get heat again. And they'd be like, yeah, of course. Why haven't we figured this out yet? And then he's never totally like gained the full head of steam.
I love him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about Good.
He's so good
Good
and
is
he's
great.
so hot. He's
I think
Very, very
he is
handsome.
good. And then sometimes he is incredible. And when he's incredible, you're like, why isn't anyone figuring out how to harness this regularly?
Feels very similar to Dan Stevens to me.
Yes.
He can give a performance where you're like, yeah, you're fine. You're doing an
You're
English
fine.
guy.
Right.
You're handsome.
Yes.
And then he'll give a performance where you're like, he understood the assignment. You're clapping between every word. Very annoying.
And something like Match Point, a movie I know you hate more than anything, but where
Well,
you're
that
just
movie's
like, no, I agree.
Right,
But
sure.
he's like arguably the best part of it. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things where you're like, this is a very easy, just off the shelf, British, rich asshole character. And he somehow comes at it so specifically that you're like, who the fuck is this guy? He's not to go off on a whole tangent. He is incredible on The Fucking Offer. He is the only actor who understood the assignment in that.
Everyone who watched that show,
Yeah.
all 12
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
had that
Yes.
takeaway at the very least.
And
They were
he's
like, if
playing-
nothing else, good is good.
The whole show's a cartoon. He's playing the guy who was a living cartoon character. And you're like, he found depth to Robert Evans.
He subbed in on The Good Wife.
yes.
He was your Josh
Yeah.
Charles replacement. And he was good.
He was good. It was the
But it
show
was
was,
a
kind
tough-
of falling apart at that
Right.
point. Yeah.
Tough moment for the show. He subs in on Downton Abbey, not to bring up Dan Stevens again.
Right.
But he's another mid-season. He's The Rock doing Journey too. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll swing in. You need
Right.
another English. You need another charmer.
And Prestige TV Viagra.
He swung in on The Crown.
Man.
just maybe for one season.
Yeah, he's not in it very much.
He's like the Earl of Snowden or whatever.
But I think you're right that the Watchmen thing, there was that weird thing where it felt like the industry didn't understand Watchmen as it was about to come out, where they were like, well, it's the 300 guy making a superhero movie. It's going to be fucking humongous. It's the most beloved comic book of all time.
Right.
And people acted like every actor getting cast in that movie was about to have a Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man moment.
Yeah.
Well, like, this is going to make you iconic. And you're like, it's Watchmen. It's like a dead end.
Yeah.
There are no sequels to this. And it's like, it's not asking for someone to give a movie star performance. It's asking for someone to give a dramatic performance.
Yeah.
And
in my memory, he's pretty blah in that
he's
movie.
the worst.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's fine.
But
you know what? I just fucking hate that movie. I will never
don't like
come
that
around
movie.
on that movie. Fuck you.
But
I know who you are. Mad that I'm saying that.
It's also like
I tried to watch the mega edition of it too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, sorry.
I like the opening credit
people-
sequence. That's the one thing I
think the opening credit sequence
I know
is
you do.
overrated.
I know you do.
It's okay.
That really works for me, and the rest of the movie I think kind of sucks.
What do you think of Watchmen?
I don't like it. I like I like the opening credits, and then I think the rest of
Sorry,
it
I
is
got it,
badly understanding the source
Yes.
material.
I have always felt the same way. I
Yes.
know some people like Watchmen, and that's okay.
But
we can all live in harmony together.
much like being a cyborg, it's okay if you like Watchmen the movie.
Much like being a podcast.
I feel like his costume, his visual translation from the comic is the worst.
Yeah, he kind of looked dorky when
And
he was
then-
supposed to look like the perfect man.
That's the thing. The design was bad, and then I remember just being like, he looks uncomfortable in the costume. This whole thing with this guy is that he should be like so supremely confident above it all. And I was like, they gave him a bad costume, and it looks like he can't move in it.
Yeah.
Tough role.
Who was the person? I'm trying to remember who the obvious fan casting was at the time.
I don't know.
That didn't happen. There was someone where everyone was like, we all agree who should play Ozymandias.
I don't know.
In that
like
one.
Tom Cruise? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like who?
That was an earlier version of it, but whatever. Yes. Post that, I do feel like he's floundering a little bit.
But this was the one where I was like, yeah, this is what I want from this guy. You know,
Mhm.
sociopath, hottie. Wears a pair of sunglasses and a polo shirt like nothing else or whatever.
Right.
There's something about him that's dead behind the eyes, but in a
Yes.
good way.
Yes.
Like normally when an actor's kind of dead behind their eyes, that limits them. But there's something about him that's just unapproachable.
Makes
It's great.
sense for this character perfectly, obviously. A single man is the other thing
Sure.
that's invoked about
Right.
him, where he's the dead partner, right? He's the only
Yes.
in flashback, kind of again, like sort of an ideal,
Yeah.
or whatever.
I
Good.
forgot. Right. He does Leap Year right before this, which was a real, like,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
we finally sell him as like a
I think Leap Year is okay.
Leap Year's fun.
Leap
nice.
Year's all
It's
right.
a nice little movie.
a nice
They're
little
in
movie.
Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Is he Irish? Is he
Oh,
doing
he's
Irish?
Very Irish in that movie.
Yeah, that movie's all right. I
Yeah.
watched that during my gentle movie run.
Yeah.
I had an
Yeah.
all right time.
It looks nice. It's well shot. It's not
Looks all
Tucker.
right.
It's got
Yeah,
like
it's
class.
pretty.
Yeah. You know what? Also, just like Amy Adams is fucking good.
Amy Adams?
It's fucking good.
What's she doing?
It's not a great run. I hear she was the lead in some fucking movie where Griffin Newman played a chipmunk, which is like career death.
Well, she was good in that. But that, it's always.
Well, how was I in it?
Well, you were
You
good
were-
too.
you were
Thank you.
amazing.
I'm just saying, don't only shout out her.
I
No,
was
I
also
mean,
a
she was good in that.
I was also a cat. I had range.
But
Look,
it is tough to go back and Arrival is the last one where you're like, that was a really interesting, exciting thing.
I will say this, biases aside, I think she is incredibly good in Disenchanted, but it's also kind of damning that that's the best movie
that
she's
is
been in 6 years.
easily the best movie she's been in since Arrival, unless you sort of count the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Like where like maybe you just are kind of like, well, that's sort of an interesting object.
Even if you like the Snyder cut a lot,
Talking
he
a lot
did
of
not.
Snyder.
He did not know how to use Amy Adams.
I
at
don't
all.
remember
Like,
her
yeah.
really mattering
But
in that movie
also,
too much.
Once
Yes.
again, neither of those should be the best movie she's made
No.
in 6 years.
And like I would go like Arrival, Disenchanted, and then I'm like let's set Justice
Right.
League aside for now. I'm like, Vice?
Yeah.
I'm like,
You
wait,
get-
does it have to be Vice?
You get why she's making the choices
Yeah.
she's making. I'm really excited for her Marianne Heller thing. I think that's
I
gonna
am
click.
so
I just
pumped for that.
are they putting it on Hulu? Like
They might change their mind, but that's the intent.
Griffin, silence, please. Have you ever been on the hunt for a new doctor and you ask literally everyone you know for their recommendation? a doctor who actually gets you, who listens to you, makes you feel super comfortable. And finally, after weeks of searching, you find the one, and maybe they're close by. Maybe, they are open on the day you get off work early or whatever, and you call their office and they have an appointment available, but then they say they don't take your insurance. Wipe your tears away, put away the ice cream, head over to ZocDoc, find and book the doctor who's right for you and takes your insurance, okay? Because ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. They all have verified reviews from actual real patients, not bots, and the average wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is just between 24 and 48 hours. That's it. You can even score same-day appointments, and once you find the doc you want, you can book them immediately with just a few app taps. No more waiting awkwardly on hold with the receptionist. ZocDoc is something I've used to find, people for a specific thing, but they're really useful for any kind of, medical appointment you're looking for. Go to ZocDoc.com/check and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/check. ZocDoc.com/check. Stoker. Bit of a learning curve for our director here.
Mm-hmm.
He is making his first American production.
How fluent is he in English?
I don't know.
Okay.
As far as I know, he talks through a translator when he's being interviewed. But I'm not sure. He wasn't given a lot of pre-production time. He says shorter than he usually gets. He's a meticulous storyboarder, unsurprisingly.
This guy feels like he's kind of just like run and gun, picture it up. He's like a Duplass brother kind of protege, right? It's like, I don't know, just put up on his feet.
He sees a puffy chair and he's like, that's a movie.
Let's film the rehearsal.
Yes, he shoots with editing in mind. That's what the puffy chair. Puffy chair. Wait a second.
What if there was a puffy chair?
Sparks flying. I think he also does, beyond like doing a lot of pre-pro, like a lot of like storyboarding stuff. He also like does a lot of rehearsals, I think, does a lot of talking to the actors. Thirst shot for 100 days.
Wow.
Fairly long.
Yeah.
Stoker shot for 40 days, which
Right.
I would say is fairly typical for a movie this size.
Yeah.
If anything, these days, possibly long for a movie this size.
But it also makes me understand maybe why he hasn't made another English language film in 10 years of like, this is luxurious.
Yeah, well, he
that
says
you're giving me 40.
In Korea, what I do is I watch the playback of each take with all the actors and spend a lot of time discussing the take. That does not strike me as what goes on a Fox Searchlight movie set.
No, I don't think that happens on any American director's movie set.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's got like his usual thing is like he has an on-set assembly person, like an editor basically, who's cutting takes into sequences as they're shooting them.
Oh, cool.
That's his usual process.
Yeah.
This is different. Okay. He's also working with different producers, He's got less clout, unsurprising. Like I think in Korea at this point in his career, he can basically, whatever he says goes.
Right.
Here, there's a conversation for everything, probably.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what Hollywood's like, guys.
Is this the last movie Tony Scott is alive for the production of?
I think they dedicate it to him.
It's dedicated to him, but that's why I was trying to.
He must be alive for the production.
He died in August 2012, so I would assume, yes, he's still alive, but maybe just,
And this comes out early 13?
It premiered at Sundance 2013, January.
Right. I think this was the last kind of Scott-free production that he was hands-on with to some degree.
Apparently, Fox Searchlight's big thing was they did ask him to push the violence sometimes in ways he thought was sort of over the top.
Interesting.
For example, like when, he approaches Jackie Weaver with the belt.
Yeah.
He wanted to cut really fast. They were like, cut out before he's even in the phone booth. They were like, no. Like shoot some stuff in the phone booth.
Sure.
You see it from far away in the movie, but still, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they wanted it to be more lurid, but it's probably also just that classic Hollywood thing of like, well, let's just get everything and then we'll figure it out later.
I think there's that. And I also just imagine they're like, it's easier to sell this movie the more we have conventional horror moments in it. Even if we're not going to use them in the trailer, it helps us to have them.
Right. He also didn't like the title and Fox Searchlight insisted on keeping the title.
He wanted to call it Prodder.
Do you think Wentworth Miller explained to him that a stoker is one who stokes?
A stoker is one who stokes.
Yes.
I
am the one who
What
stokes.
do you call this movie? Like, it's not like I'm like, yeah, Stoker, bad title. It should have been called, The Lonely Girl Murders. Like, I don't like what Saddle Shoes.
I kind of think Stoker's a good title.
Great title.
Yeah.
My uncle is a serial killer, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's a good title too. Although it does give up
It does give
the
up
premise a little.
You could call it Uncle Charlie. I know that's what this supposed. Like, I suppose, but like that's kind of a boring title
for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot imagine how uninteresting the Uncle Charlie script is. Not to be rude, but I'm like, that sounds like the kind of thing where that's a good writing exercise to have all of that in your back pocket as you're writing this movie.
Give yourself context. Yes.
But like this movie has 2 flashbacks to Uncle Charlie before he arrives at the house, and you're like, everything I need to know about this guy.
Now, the other thing I will say, and this is a critique, but a sort of understanding critique, is this film was shot in Nashville. This story is clearly steeped in Southern Gothic storytelling.
Yes.
Doesn't feel Southern in any meaningful
The cast
way.
is almost exclusively Australian and British.
A lot of the references to like geography are California references. Which
Very
is
much
bizarre.
He seems to be setting it in nowhere.
Yeah.
Even though, like, when you're watching the movie, you're like, this isn't set in like the bayou or something.
Yeah,
Like,
to what, Middleville High School or something.
Right.
Yeah, where are the Gators?
So I feel like there is a bit of a push and pull where he says, like, I was going for more like timeless, nondescript, which doesn't make sense to me because I'm like, this story screams like, fucking Crawdad should be singing. Like, or whatever.
There is like big, and maybe this is just the presence of Mia Wasikowska, but there is like a big Bronte vibe to it. So you could see this being set in like the Scottish Highlands or something. But
I think it would work almost in any location rather than no
specificity.
location.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But that's the thing about this, which is why I think it rubs some people the wrong way. It's all stripped out. So it's just like all style and it's all like archetypes.
Right.
And that vibes for me fine.
Yeah.
But I imagine some people were just kind of like, what can I grab onto here?
Well, it is like, you realize she goes to high school, which seems like a weird thing that she goes to, but like then she shows up and she's just in Riverdale. Like she's on the CW series Riverdale.
Right, like Karate Kid
Riverdale,
bullies.
if Reggie wanted to punch women.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, relax,
But it's
Lucas still.
It is also like anytime there's a character from outside of this house who comes in, they're just coming in from another movie, which is a vibe that I like.
I like that too.
Right. I mean, if I were bullying, Jesus, what's her name? India.
Yeah.
I would, it would be like, what fucking novel did you just walk out of, Saddle Shoes Girl? Like,
I can't believe
what
you
is
forgot
this?
her name is India
India.
Stoker.
Very normal name.
Yeah.
Yes. But he's turning it into more of like a general fairy tale, I feel like.
Yeah.
Dark fairy tale.
Well, I think, look, massive spoilers ahead, right?
Yes,
but I
go
think
ahead.
the thing this movie does that is so interesting to me is it basically plays this game of like, I would not say it's a twist film, right?
No, because it's pretty obvious that something is afoot immediately.
Right. But what it's playing with is this expectation of like, which person in this house is the problem, right? You sort of start out the movie with the like Ice Queen mother, right? Then Uncle Charlie comes in who's a little bit too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, so are they up to something together? And is our lead character in danger? And then you get to this point where you're like, no, it's about the fact that she's also kind of a problem. Right? And I like that it's like the clues are kind of there from the very beginning, the opening, the hunting, all that sort of shit. But he's sort of using against you the idea of like, the thing that gets fucking jumbled in stupid film Twitter discourse all the time of like, if the character is the protagonist, we must like her. She must be relatable.
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore all the warning signs, much as Nicole Kidman says, right? I'm going to ignore all the warning signs that are clearly there because I want to love her because the movie is putting her at the center of the story. So clearly she must be the hero, the victim, the person I need to be rooting for and looking out for and everything. And then you get to this point halfway through where you're like, she is infected with the same shit that he is.
Bad blood.
Right. Bad blood. They both have like the curse. Right. And then as the movie goes on, you're like, oh, Nicole Kidman's the hero of this movie.
Right. And she's also been sort of aware the whole time.
Right.
Rather than like the Gertrude.
Right.
In the beginning, you're like, oh, it's Hamlet. Yeah. Uncle came in, knocked off the dad.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just like getting in with the mom. She's Hamlet. She's going to figure it out.
There's even, though, a point where, like, once again, Wasikowska is like,
India.
Maybe he's like a problem. Maybe I actually do need to. He's so much worse than I am. I need to get away.
Sure.
And then at the end, she comes out and it's like, oh, she's just fully a serial killer now. She loves doing this.
And like the thing is, even when you see her dad, who's this beloved figure, he is like training her to kill her uncle because he's Dexter's dad. Like I'm coming in to like give you the serial killer knowledge that you will need.
The outlet.
Now, Dermot Mulroney, who plays India's father in this film.
In flashbacks.
Is 14 years older than Matthew Good.
Yes.
What's going on there?
Well, look, it was supposed to be Colin Firth at first. I think this part was supposed to be younger.
Yeah, that would make more sense. Good is actually weirdly too young.
They do set up that the kids have a pretty large age gap in
They do.
Which I think does work for that flashback scene of there being this relationship to like, he's a little bit more of a co-parent than just a big brother.
Right.
And so he really wears the responsibility of, I let the other kid die. We're going into deep spoiler territory.
Yeah, well, we're spoiling, spoil the movie every
My
week.
bigger thing with the Dermot Mulroney casting is for so much of the movie, they're implying that he's this disgusting old fat guy, right? They basically do this thing of like, you're so much younger than your brother was.
Sure.
Like Nicole Kidman's getting so turned on by this like more virile version of her dead husband.
Right.
And they make all the jokes of like, his clothes are a little loose on me. This belt is oversized. And then you see Dermot Mulroney, the ultimate silver fox.
And he looks good.
Yes.
It's not like he's hideous in this one.
No, I feel like they're making you think that the dead father's John Polito.
That would be funny.
And then it's like an hour and change before you finally get a flashback to him. And you're like, yeah, the guy who famously has aged better.
Fucking MTV Movie Award Best Kiss nominee.
Oh, that hair
American Quilt. I like Dermot Mulroney.
I do too.
Just gonna throw it out there.
I just think he's a fucking steady presence.
Although, have you seen Scream 6?
Yes.
Have you seen Scream? No,
I have not.
He spills a tub of paprika in that movie.
I mean,
it's a bold performance.
He's interesting in that movie.
Right. He watched other actors in Scream and was like, this is too subtle. In like the Scream series.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do generally like Dermot Mulroney. But yes, okay. Sure. The plot of Stoker is you got India. She's always gotten a pair of saddle shoes on her birthday. She's very feely. She's very quiet. Yeah. She's very weird.
She feels things intensely.
Yes. She's got Nicole Kidman in sort of like frozen face mode as her mom. That's always going to be, it's Stepford wife mode.
Right. Emotionally distant.
Right.
Right.
Her dad is now dead in a car crash inexplicably on her birthday.
Yes.
And guess who's in town? Uncle Charlie, played by Matthew Good.
Who has never even been spoken of before.
Right. Who claims he's just like came in from Europe.
Yeah.
And is an international businessman of great renown.
Uh-huh.
And he's crazy.
Yeah.
Not to be, too blunt about it.
No, he's
crazy and does murders.
Yes.
I feel like you could have given this movie the title "My Crazy Uncle," and like the poster could have been Mia Wasikowska, like
head tilted,
Gerard Depardieu behind in like a jet ski or something. Yeah,
this is a movie where I'm like, it feels incorrect to say like he is suffering from mental illnesses. You're like, no, he is movie crazy.
Or in the grand literary tradition of crazy people,
right.
He's one of them.
Right, crazy is the only way to describe
his
this.
Reaction to problems is to murder.
This is not how a human brain works.
Right.
This is movie crazy.
If there are human obstacles, he will remove them with murder.
Yes.
And a belt is always involved.
He's very fond of strangulation with belt.
Yes.
And 5 minutes into the movie, we're all like, well, he killed her dad. Right. And she's sort of piecing it together. And you're like, is this what the whole movie's going to be about? Right. Not really. No.
That's what I like. It's that sort of like magic trick thing of like, he's making you look at the wrong thing.
Yes.
Right? You're watching him being like, why are they taking so long to like unfurl this guy? And it's like, right, because it's about her. It's about distracting you from the fact that all the warning signs are there. All the red flags are there.
Yeah, it feels for a long time like an inversion of Lolita in certain ways. And then he is grooming her, but grooming her to be herself in some weird way. It's
right. He sees the crazy in her.
He's removing the sort of the blocks that Dermot Mulroney has built around her, the blinders.
And to spoil the film, I don't know why I'm worried about spoiling the film. Jesus, it's a 90-minute movie. You can rent it on Amazon.
That's good.
And it's good. But he
maybe not
has
Amazon, bad company.
Sure, I agree with you. He is explicitly asked to be released from the mental institution that he was actually in, not Europe,
Sure.
on her 18th birthday, because he's decided in his head, like, when she comes of age, she can become his, the Bonnie to his Clyde or whatever,
He's been obsessed with her since she was born.
Right.
Despite being kept as far away from the beginning. He just has the sense of like, you're a mutant too.
I feel like serial killers needing proteges is like a harmful stereotype. Like
Yeah.
actual serial killers.
Plenty of serial killers are perfectly self-sufficient.
But I do like that there's sort of this, like, we need to talk about Kevin thing where this girl's born and everyone's like, oh, fuck, she's a killer. How do we, like, as a baby, you get the sense that everyone, Dermot Mulroney was like, okay, I have to create like a real regiment around like not letting her murder other human beings. And Matthew Good is locked up in an institution. He can just feel it the second she's born.
Right.
Somewhere
Disturbance in the
another
force.
killer.
Yes.
Right.
So Richard shows up. He's hanging around the funeral, being cute.
Charlie shows up. Richard.
Charlie, not Richard. Charlie argues with the maid, played by Phyllis Somerville, the great Phyllis Somerville, great stage actress. I think recently dead. Yes, 2020.
She every year, Dermot Mulroney would
get his daughter a pair of saddle shoes. There's this crazy fucking, shot sequence of the shoes shrinking.
Beautiful
to
box
baby
with a bow
size.
on it. And this is her birthday. Her dad left her, which is unlike him because he loves her and he's such a doting father.
Right.
And she checks
the best sniper rifle teacher of all.
the box. It's empty. Phyllis Somerville's like, you check again. There's a key inside.
In there.
And she realizes like the presents weren't from you.
Weren't from
weren't from dad.
They were
Yes.
from you.
Right.
And I guess the implication is the maid has been sort of Charlie's sort of avatar.
Correct.
In the house, like his go-between.
The go-between. Yeah.
And so the saddle shoes, there's this whole thing with the saddle shoes, where the saddle shoes represent innocence and not being a serial killer.
Yes.
And putting on high heels represents embracing one's womanhood and becoming a serial killer.
High heels are like the knives of the feet. Can't kill someone with
when
a saddle
you talk
shoe.
about this movie, it does sound like an F-1 star piece of shit.
I love it. But yes, I get why certain people are like, fuck this. Like, I feel like this is one of those movies where like the people who didn't like it were loudly scoffing in the theater. Like, oh, come on.
But yeah, he argues with the maid. Guess what happens to the maid?
It gets belted.
She gets put in the ice cream tray,
Yeah.
ice cream freezer.
Yeah.
You
know what flavor of ice cream she was surrounded by? Belt.
What else is going on? She's being bullied at school by Lucas Till.
Yes.
Who is crazy.
Yes.
And keeps threatening to punch her.
Yeah.
I just this is one of those things where I'm like, what is going on? Where like it kind of has the dynamic of, not to be gendered about this, but like a boy picking on a boy.
Yes.
I'm like, it feels less common for the jock at school to be like, let me threaten to beat up the emo girl.
Yeah, but also maybe he's smart. Maybe he's like, I'm getting huge murder vibes from her. We need to put her in her place. Guys, I'm not like punching down. I truly think this is self-defense for the entire town.
Right. And then you have Alden Ehrenreich, who I forgot was in this movie.
His name's Whip.
Playing Whip Taylor.
Whip Taylor.
Who is presents as a more like-minded student,
Yes.
a more sympathetic creature.
Yeah.
Another outsider.
Yeah.
Motorcycle boy.
Wrong side of the tracks.
Who kind of helps her, deal with the bully. Although she really deals with the bully herself by stabbing him with a pencil. What else is going on? Nicole Kidman's there. She's just going like, isn't Charlie so nice?
Jackie Weaver pops in. Everybody in this movie is somebody, and they come in for like 2 scenes, and then they're gone.
Jackie Weaver, high off her second Oscar nom? Yes. Good for her.
A wild double nominee.
One of the great 2 double nominees.
Who then Hollywood has never quite figured out how to use, being like...
She still does stuff.
She works constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love her.
Yeah.
I feel like she should be the boss in a TV show or something now.
She should be the fucking chief on the next CSI or NCIS.
The FBI Memphis or whatever.
She should fall into the Good Wife universe. That feels like where
she could be a wacky lawyer, judge.
Yeah, she could be. They could give her her own show.
What's this Good Wife spinoff with the wacky
Elspeth?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is that a good character?
I mean,
sure.
One of those characters that's very fun on that show.
Yeah.
Like comes in, has a fun episode every so often. You're like, crazy. I don't want to speak ill of the Kings because I think they make good television. But I do think,
has Big the Tortelli's energy. Let's put it that way.
There's a certain point at which the minecart might fall off the track. I'm just saying. They're taking some wild curves at this point.
I've never watched Wife Nor Fight. I saw the trailer for that when the pilot got picked up. Yeah. And I was like, this feels like New Girl Detective. This is a spin-off of this like August, deeply respected two-series run.
The Kings, Evil, one of the great shows on TV right now. But the Kings should have made Wife Fight. That should have been their next show.
The Wife Fight.
The Wife Fight.
With Glenn Close.
Yeah.
Aunt Jin shows up. Jackie Weaver. Hi, how are you doing? Here's Uncle Charlie. Aunt Jin's like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Can we talk? Nicole Kidman's like, sure, let's talk later. Right. She's like, okay. I'll go back to my motel.
She also says we can talk only in front of Charlie.
Right.
She's not like, hey, Nicole Kidman, can I pull you aside for a second? At dinner, she's like, Nicole Kidman, can we make plans later to talk privately about this guy who I don't want to hear what I have to say to? You?
Does Nicole Kidman know about
that's
that
my
brother?
Question. This is exactly my question. If Nicole Kidman is aware of like something being wrong, why is she then like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, Jackie? I don't know. She seems like she's sort of condemning her to death there.
Yeah.
I should probably just not worry about it.
I think she's not. I think she doesn't know.
Right. She maybe doesn't know the extent of this.
Or she's willfully blind to it.
I also think she's more suspicious of India than she is of Uncle Charlie. I think that's sort of the explanation, is that she's just like, my husband's dead. Did my daughter do this?
Yeah.
I mean, and this does have that movie thing where like the quote unquote crazy guy does such a good impression of a normal person that in the reality of this film, you wouldn't necessarily think, well, he's clearly a serial killer because he's acting in a very heightened way, but in a movie that is heightened.
I suppose that's true. I might have my suspicions. I don't want to sound like Sherlock Holmes over here.
Sure.
So Charlie kills Aunt Jin at the motel in a phone booth with his belt.
Well, she says, I'm going to the motel, gets in the car immediately,
goes to a different
says,
motel.
where else?
Right. Yeah.
I think that cut to him saying, her getting, where are you staying? The Biltmore. Gets in the car. Are there any other hotels in town?
Biltmore.
What?
Hey.
A little Easter egg.
She does.
Staying at the Murder Inn.
She stays at a different hotel, but she still does get more of the belt. David?
That's the door, right?
That cut from her saying, are there any other hotels, to just wide shot of her in this horrible motel room, sitting there waiting to be murdered, is really funny to me.
Look, I also just think Jackie Weaver is really funny. Like,
yes,
just her sitting is funny.
Yeah.
There's just something.
She's got that crocodile smile.
Yeah, just kind of inherently like very heightened about her that I think is good.
I agree.
I'm very pro Jackie Weaver. But she's, I don't know. And she probably can play subtle characters, just not in Hollywood.
This movie's just fast. Like, you describing the plot of it, it's just a person enters the movie, they are killed. A person enters the movie. And it shouldn't work, but it does. It
shouldn't really work. What happens after that? Well, then what happens after that is the whole encounter with Whip, where
the piano scene.
Okay, so the best scene in the movie. You're right. And that's the scene.
That's the scene.
That's the scene.
Does that happen before or after Jackie Weaver?
Pretty sure that happens after the murder of Jackie Weaver, but before the murder of Alden Ehrenreich.
And cross-cut with Matthew Good belting Jackie Weaver in the phone booth is Mia Wasikowska finding the other dead body in the freezer.
Correct.
So she now kind of has all the information.
Right. And he, the day before, had been getting piano lessons from Nicole Kidman, in quotes, and been like, I don't even know how to play the piano. And then you have this scene where India is sitting at the piano playing a Philip Glass ditty, an original piece of composition for the film.
Yes. Who was originally hired to score the whole film and then ended up just doing the piano pieces.
According to JJ, that may be a misconception based on the fact that Glass wrote this one piece of music.
Okay.
That like maybe there was a thought that he was going to do the whole movie. Clint Mansell does the score.
Yeah.
But look, film was written to the Hours soundtrack. You got to get Glassy in there.
Yeah.
You know, you got to throw up a pane.
Got to shatter some glass.
Got to double glaze it. How many more of these puns can I do?
Throw up a pain.
And there's this scene where he joins her to play double piano, and it's like they're fucking.
Yes.
I don't know how else to put it.
He tries to it's like he's trying to absorb her. It's like
and he's like challenging her. He's like, "What if I do?" And she's like, "Oh, I know how to do
and
this."
their feet are getting tangled around the pedals.
They're sharing the bench.
Yeah.
You know,
so sexy, so creepy.
Everything
Just the
we're
whole movie.
saying sounds like its own euphemism. These two sharing the bench,
This whole movie's a euphemism.
pushing
whole
the pedals.
movie's-
and obviously, Mr. Alfred Hitchcock,
Mhm.
Director Park's favorite, was the king of. Well, they won't let me show fucking in the film, so
Right.
I'll make a scene where it's like they're fucking. That's what he sounded like.
David,
Wonderful.
that was an incredible impression.
That's what I've seen enough Alfred Hitchcock to know that's what he sounded like.
They should reboot Alfred Hitchcock Presents
with-
and have you
with
do the
me?
introduction.
I saw there's a play called Hitchcock Blonde,
Mhm.
which I think had a Broadway run.
Okay.
That is like a very strange play by Terry Johnson. That's like a double narrative of like Alfred Hitchcock meeting a woman that he's casting to be in Psycho
Okay.
or something like that. He's casting for something, and a media studies professor and his like student unearthing. Oh no, that's what meeting a woman who he shoots a test reel with.
Okay.
And this media studies professor unraveling the test, like finding it, and it's all about Hitchcock.
Was that made into a movie, or am I remembering a thing from the forums?
You're remembering something from the forums. Let's not even talk about it. But you were absolutely right, I think. But no, because there was the movie with Hopkins that I never saw. It was Hot
Right,
Pass, right?
yeah.
With
But then
Helen
wasn't there?
Mirren.
There was the girl. Was that what it was?
That's
called?
another thing. That was a TV movie, right?
That's the Tippi Hedren.
right. That was about making Marnie and the birds or
Right.
whatever.
And Hitchcock is about Psycho, but
right. No, this
the,
is
the
more
girl is more
abstract.
about the complicated relationship of
Yes.
the Hitchcock blonde.
And Rosamund Pike played the Hitchcock blonde.
Okay,
And
okay.
David Haig played the media studies professor. But William Hootkins played Hitchcock, who
Shep
everyone may know
Porkins.
best as Porkins from Star Wars.
Which, speaking of,
Who just had a great Hitchcock vibe. They didn't have to do much work.
no, incredible.
Yes.
The name William Hootkins,
What?
already you're like, this guy can
What
play.
a name. Well, you think that he's probably someone who can turn into an owl at will. William Hootkins.
Or produce many owl babies.
But I just
The
remember
Hootkins.
walking out of there being like, so who was that playing? Let me look at the play. You know, I'm like probably like 16 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. That's Porkins, the guy who dies 1 minute into the trench run.
Well, you speak about the deep Southern fried veracity of this movie. Old Texas style sheriff shows up in this film, played by Rick Ollier,
Yes, Ralph Brown, right?
Naboo fighter pilot.
Who is the I believe he's the one in Phantom Menace who delivers the classic line, "We didn't do anything" when fucking Anakin's blowing up a entire base. Or
Yes.
we didn't hit it. Yes, Rick Olea, you're right. He plays the Southern fried sheriff who gets garden sheared at
Yeah.
the end of the movie.
Which, like, I'll say,
Worst sheriff of all time.
I don't want to say he had it coming, but he really fucked up.
He shows up to their house being like, "So, what's up? This kid got murdered.
Yeah.
You were last seen with him." She's like, "I don't know. I was here." And Matthew Good's like, I was here too. And he's like, "See you later. Sounds good. By the way, the maid that disappeared, any word on that?" And they're like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, people go missing all the time.
What's
My
wild?
car's running."
What's wild about him is he
Gotta go.
actually.
Yep.
You watch him ask all the right questions and then
Right.
ignore the
And
answers.
he's like, "Okay, I'll see you later."
Matthew Good saves her by having memorized TV schedules. So
That is-
That's true. He comes in with a PBS, fucking Moliere was on or what. I can't remember what
was
it
Uncle
was.
Il
Charlie-
Travatore.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
was
yeah.
Uncle Charlie on the Oscar watch forums?
He
Was he a television without
we
pity
were
guy?
all like, I'm not sure about this guy, but yeah. when
But
he-
they don't say what channel PBS is on because, of course, this is not set in a specific place.
No, of course not.
So they
It's
can't
a
be like, "I was
nebulous
watching Channel
PBS.
13.
Emily, I feel like we're moving through the plot quickly. Are there things we breezed over that you want to touch upon at all? As
no,
we keep
because I feel
going
like
forward?
my whole vibe on this film is I'm going to come in at the end and give in.
We have to summarize
a
what happened.
wild
Exactly.
reading.
It's the classic Emily
Yeah.
move.
Okay, you have a wild reading. Okay, well, so all right, so Whip, there's the whole scene where he kind of saves her.
Yes.
They wander out to like a diner. They make out. She bites his lip.
Well, no, he saves her. Then she goes to the diner in the middle of the night after she's solved that her uncle is a murderer.
after the ice cream revelation.
She goes there. He's basically like, "What are you doing on the wrong side of the tracks?"
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm here to fuck in the woods.
She bites his lip and he's like, wow.
Right.
And
He makes some comment about like, everyone says you're weird. I didn't know you were that weird. And she says like, don't blow this for me. She says something like,
yeah, like, right. I'm not actually interested in you talking.
no, and also like, I don't want you to be into this. That's not the juice I'm looking for here.
It's just like men are evil. Like men don't
Certainly-
go from 0 to 60.
You can't throw him too far.
You know who else are evil in this movie?
Everybody.
Women.
Except for Nicole Kidman. Well, Nicole Kidman's bad.
2/3 of the movie is making you think, is she the worst person in this film? And at the end, you're like, she tried.
Yeah, she got dealt a bad hand. She
Yeah.
should probably just not have.
She did try. Maybe she's got some character defects, but she tried.
With,
She did her
fucking
best.
Mulroney.
She did her best.
Mixed up with the Stokers.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend whose maiden name is Stoker. It's a cool name, Stoker.
I think if I married into the Stokers, I could have handled it. I think I could have made some
Stokers.
things happen.
This is a classic Ben proclamation. If
What,
I were the
like-
lead of the
Yeah,
movie,
Ben,
it
if
would
you're
have
in
worked out.
Stoker, you're like Uncle Charlie shows up and you're like, all right, I'm gonna buy a plane ticket. I'm out of here. What are you doing? What's your move?
If I
You're India,
right, I'm India.
so you're probably not a serial killer yourself.
No,
Not yet. You haven't been activated.
No.
No, I haven't been activated. I guess I would turn him into a killer for hire on the internet and make money.
You
as
take a commission.
Oh, you would be like, hey, bud, I like your moxie.
Yeah.
Let's make some money.
Listen, let's do something with
Is
this
anyone repping
talent.
you?
Have belt
Yeah.
will travel.
Yeah.
I can make a website, no problem. I know how to use Squarespace.
Let's also call out, there's this art class scene where they're all doing a nude figure study, and they go to her painting, and she's doing like truly just like cubes.
They're just painting flowers. And
Oh,
like
right.
she's painting the
I'm sorry.
interior of the vase. And
Right.
then this other
Lucas Hill,
guy's like
Havoc himself.
Does a naked drawing of
He's
her
like,
from
this
behind.
is you. I want to do this
Yeah.
to you.
Shoots rings out of his chest.
Lucas Till, I want a movie about that guy. Just like the bully who also is like a good artist but uses it only for evil.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the king of the campus. Gonna sit on this abandoned chair.
And also like only bullies people who maybe need to be cut off at the pass.
Lucas Till's performance as Havoc in the rebooted X-Men trilogy is one of the most insane performances ever.
Uh-huh.
He seemingly gets younger with every movie,
Correct.
even though the 10 years are between him. Like, he's somehow supposed to be Cyclops' younger brother. None of it ever makes sense.
My second Dexter reference because I keep making them, but they should turn this into Lucas Till being a bully who only bullies other bullies.
Yes.
That's how he gets you.
Right.
God, he's only 32 years old, and he's met Creech. He's got a whole life ahead of him.
We got to shout out the art teacher, though.
This is why I brought it up. Ben, who is playing the art teacher,
Mr. Feldman.
largely out of focus.
My boy Harmony.
It is Harmony Korine. Korine. Yeah, Korine.
Part of
as
his
the art teacher. Not really
weird-
sure why.
Weird collection of acting roles. He did that season of Girlfriend Experience. He's in Manglehorn, where he's one of the leads. The David Gordon Green, Al Pacino keymaker drama.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Pacino plus
I
Cat
have not seen that.
Ben, if you thought the keymaker
had a lot of keys.
in The Matrix,
Oh boy.
Okay.
wait till you meet
Okay, I'm
Manglehorn.
intrigued.
Wait till you get Manglehorned.
Dang.
Yes, he is in this film.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a major role.
No.
Ben, who would you cast Harmony as in like a one scene cameo?
Well, I mean,
If you could
because
write-
he's done so many great
Yeah.
ones.
Taylor make a role for Harmony Korine.
Damn. I don't know because it's like the more recent cameos he's done, he's like playing against type. And I like when he pops up as just a fucking weirdo and says one weird line.
Mm.
You wanted to be like in a John Wick as like Mr. Crazy,
Yeah.
wearing like a
Wait.
garbage bag.
His character name
Yeah.
is The Creep.
Mr. Crazy.
Yeah.
King of the creeps. I'm the creep king.
You know what?
I'll send my
How
army
about
of
this?
creeps after you.
He shows up in some fucking Star Wars thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
And he plays the type of character that I love in stories in general, which is he's a little head attached to a bigger guy.
A little guy is
Sure.
part of
Hey,
the
I'm on-
thing.
I'm on now.
And
Yeah.
he's
Like
like
that.
smoking some kind of futuristic sort of tobacco, weed, like sort of future. It's a future
tobacco
sig.
Future sig.
What if like Michael Shannon is the big guy? What if we attach Harmony Korine to Michael Shannon?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
The two creeps.
Yes.
Brought together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate this guy.
Look, we have to just acknowledge that she makes out with Whip.
Yes.
It's all going okay.
Right.
But then
She bites his lip.
He gets very aggressive all of a sudden,
right?
And is basically about to rape her when.
Right. Well, because he's like, you can't open the door and then invite me in or kick me out, bullshit. Whatever. Right.
It's this, total heel turn from seemingly nice Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
And Uncle Charlie shows up and first like hog ties him.
Yes.
And is like, all right, have your fun, Mia.
While he's still on top of her, like straddling her.
And she kind of kicks him a bunch or whatever, but she's not going to kill him, probably.
Yeah, they show this later, but then he like grabs her and tries to. Alden Ehrenreich grabs her and tries. And I feel like at that point I would have just given up.
Yeah, if Uncle Charlie's hog-tied me, I might be like, okay,
right,
I'm out.
He's like, I still might be able to make this work. I'm this close to getting laid.
He's the fucking knight from Monty Python. He's like on one leg, and he's like, I don't know. I mean, let me see.
He's just reaching for his zipper,
and so Charlie strangles him with the belt and then breaks his neck. You see the head kind of jerk back in a unnatural manner.
Mm-hmm.
And then India takes a shower and whacks it, which is the real moment where you're like, okay, she is not some sort of innocent in the middle of a spider web who's trying to navigate all this stuff. She is perhaps like carrying the same curse.
And then that's basically when she has the conversation with Nicole Kidman, I think, when she's brushing her hair. You have that amazing fucking transition where it goes to the hyper close-up of Nicole Kidman's hair with the brush running through it, and then like so gradually that you don't even catch it. I rewound this 3 times just because I was stunned by the craft of it. It turns into like fields of grass.
There's so much stuff like that in this movie that is mind-blowing.
The one I love is when she's reading all the letters and it turns into her face.
Yes.
This is why this is the speed racer of abusive family movies.
But she basically like admits to Nicole Kidman, like, I'm the bad guy of the movie.
Yeah.
What's your move here? But she says I always thought my dad took me hunting because he loved it. He was trying to, sometimes you need to do something bad to stop someone from doing something worse.
Because you're in India's point of view for basically this entire movie, there's a few scenes without her. It is like, it does feel like the Uncle Charlie is like, the scenes that would just be him is like him on his phone reading the WikiHow on like how to activate a serial killer, because he has this very like methodic process he's going through of like, this is how I'm going to get her to be also like me.
Well, I like that this movie, it feels supernatural and that it treats the idea of being a serial killer like it's like being a werewolf.
Yeah.
Right?
What's a vampire movie?
Yes. And you basically have this father who has like seen it in his brother, couldn't stop it, right? Spent the next decades of his life trying to make sure his brother was just like contained and off the map.
Right.
And then from the moment his daughter's born, he like sees it in this fucking baby's eyes, like she's Renesmee. Like she's got these like nightmare adult eyes from the moment she's born. And he's just like, well, she's my daughter. I will love her no matter what. I need to create the circumstances that somehow prevent her from ever being triggered. No one can ever utter the code words that activate her.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then Matthew Good just like unlocks it. And she's just like, oh, right, this is who I fundamentally am.
To be fair, he like puts a corpse in a freezer and like leaves it for her to find, which seems like like pretty triggering.
And then he was just leaves her, slips her a note that says, "Did you like that? Check yes or no." It's a big yes.
So, when she uses that key, which has been sort of lingering, that's when she finds that it opens Richard's desk drawer.
Right.
It's filled with letters that that Charlie wrote her from his mental institution.
Well, it's these like wildly sort of like romantic looking, like gothic letters.
Yes.
Which we're seeing them in sort of the opening credits, but you don't really know what they are.
Right.
And then it's like, here are 18 years worth of letters he's written about the connection he has
and
to
they're all from like
person he never met.
123 Looney Bin Road, Savannah, Georgia,
at first
or whatever.
He's talking about all his travels and his journeys in this country and that country. And there's the thing earlier at the table where like when Jackie Weaver's there,
when she's like, Europe.
Right. Nicole Kidman says like, it's so nice of him to take his time out of his busy libertine lifestyle in Europe. And Jackie, Europe is the thing that like triggers Jackie Weaver into like red alert. Right. So then you're reading these letters that are like, was he doing what he says he was? And then after she reads all the letters and gets kind of like enchanted by them, only then as she's leaving the study does she turn around and go like, what's on the back of these envelopes? And every one of them has the stamp that's like, as you said, 1, 2, 3 Looney Bin Way.
I just love that.
I do too.
There's a gun in the drawer too, which implies that
Yes.
whoever gave her the key is intending her to kill Uncle Charlie at some point. But she reads the letters and is not freaked out. She's like, interesting.
And I like that you have, as you're saying, the speed racer editing's happening. You also have, it's going between his voiceover and her voiceover. Yeah. Her hearing his voice in his head and her kind of like falling into the narrative.
Right, which is confusing, I would say, initially. You're kind of like, wait, is this some secret correspondence that they had? And you're like, no. This is
Did
all
they have a relationship that you're
his
forgetting
fantasy,
about? Right.
But she's willing to tap into it.
I also love when she turns around and sees the Looney Bin Way address stamp. She like looks at it like, wait a second. And then she flips to the next one as if like, well, maybe this one's actually from France. He was just there for a week. You have her flip through every single letter to be like, all of them? I'm like,
It would be
that
funny
dude
if
was,
there was. Right, yeah.
One is postmarked
Portugal.
from Nice.
Yeah.
Just different, crazy, like
Right, yeah, he actually got moved
asylums,
around.
but
Right.
it just
He did a
got
tour.
he went to
Arkham.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
He went to Portugal.
Asylum de crazy. Look, at this point, I guess the sort of dilemma of the film, or the hook for audiences is like, okay, so is she now just all in, going to be his apprentice, and that's what the rest of the movie is going to be about?
Swing
And
the
the hidden
pendulum a little
twist
too is he so much of a threat that even she's scared?
right? And then of course the hidden twist is no, she is going to kill him off. Like she this is she perceives a threat. She knows what he wants, and she knows how to manipulate him.
Yeah,
she does want to like protect her mother on some level, but also doesn't want to be her mother's daughter, which I think is a fascinating dynamic to explore. Is this when the flashback is?
Yes. So layered into all of this are the revelations that Charlie murdered Richard with a big old rock in the car.
Yes.
He rocked him.
The only reason he would miss her birthday is if there was something more important that he needed to do.
And he had to go pick up Uncle Charlie.
Right.
And unfortunately, he forgot to bring his rock shield.
Who's seemingly like...
He forgot to bring his paper. Let's be honest.
Good point.
He's like checked himself out of the institution after seemingly like Harley Quinning one of the women who works there.
Yeah. I mean, easy stuff for old Charles.
Yes.
I would get Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
By
I'd be like, sure, buddy.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Get you out of here.
You got to get while the getting's good, with an E.
And then, of course, the deeper, darker revelation, which I feel like we see initial flashbacks here, and then we sort of see the final flashbacks a little later of they had a third younger brother. What was his name? Jonathan.
Right. Mia Wasikowska asked him, what happened to Jonathan?
And Charlie was jealous of the attention Jonathan got from Richard, so he buried him in a sand pit.
It's the one move. It's Park Chan-Wook's move. It's like, you got to kill somebody.
It is one of the... It is a creatively brutal way to die.
Yeah.
Very disturbing. And so that's the story of the Stokers.
What could go wrong when you have a deep child-sized pit, a sandcastle right in front of it, and a bunch of digging tools?
Don't let Charlie near the digging tools. He does like to bury people because he buries someone in the ice cream,
He puts it right at the bottom of the slide, and then it's like, hey, Jonathan, come down. I feel like
slide into this hole.
Even a 2-year-old is like not going to slide into him. Yeah.
But this is where I do think the age difference helps.
Yes.
Is that it's like his jealousy of the brother paying more attention to the younger kid makes more sense if the oldest brother is a little bit of an adult.
I also love the tension of the lawnmower is just running.
Yes.
And you intellectually know that Richard has run very far away from it, but it seems like it's going to come and like mow off one of their feet or something.
And there's another kind of speed racery moment where you're watching the flashback and then the camera pushes into the shed where it's adult Charlie at his typewriter watching...
Yeah, right.
Like the memory as he's sort of writing the tale.
Put his head on a little boy's body, and then you go in and, now it's the little boy. It's so,
I think it's pretty
movie's
excellent.
fucked up good.
But this is, I just think this is like an okay script where Park correctly is just like, let's lean into
Directs
this
the
sort of
shit out of
mania of it, right,
Yes.
at every turn.
Yeah.
Like, let's make no moment uninteresting in this like lean,
Yeah.
thriller, like already lean, very sort of like over the top and silly thriller.
You mentioning the sound of the lawnmower. The sound mixing in this movie is unbelievable.
Yes. I notice sound a lot because I work in fiction podcasting where we have to listen to fucking sound design all the goddamn time. And it is unreal how good this movie is at evoking the way it is to kind of just hear everything, but not pay attention to any of it.
He is one of those filmmakers where you watch one of his movies and you go like, why aren't most filmmakers using sound as this much of a tool?
Yeah.
I think most people just use it as like just functional means to an end, just get the clean audio on the day. The Coen brothers are like this as well, where it's like they pump up the unreality of every sound an additional 10 to 15% in a way that really makes you feel it.
Yeah.
That feels like it gets at some ecstatic truth. And I think this movie has this very flowery score, but it's really smart about when to like pull back and go totally silent or focus in on the sound of it, one bug. There's that moment after the fucking piano sequence when it's like they get to the climax moment and then she turns around and he's gone, and then it cuts to her knee and there's the spider slowly unfurling on her knee, and it's like it's so quiet you can hear the legs of the spider brushing against her stockings. It's good shit.
Yeah, the use of sound is impeccable, but also the use of silence, which obviously is a sound design choice in and of itself. He's so good at that in just the way that he creates the sense of being imprisoned by that sound in a weird way. It's great.
And even the way he uses silence, you're like, his like silence is amped up.
Yeah.
It's like he turned up the volume on the silence.
Everything in this movie, like the use of color in this movie is astonishing. The use of blood splatter, the way that Mia Wasikowska is always dressed in very off-color outfits until kind of the very end.
Yes, she's styled as like a child out of time, basically.
Yeah. In fact, I watched this with some friends who I thought would dig it, and they really did. And they assumed the movie took place in the 70s until somebody mentioned that it was technically taking place in the 2010s.
Sure.
It does have that feel. And
it does. She dresses a little bit like Annabelle.
The doll?
The doll.
Yeah.
The killer doll.
Yeah.
The doll that just sits there and you die.
My favorite thing in the Annabelle movies is when they're looking to escape the house and they go into this crawl space and Annabelle's just sitting there.
Yeah.
It cuts to them going, whoa, and then it cuts to Annabelle.
Well, they just were like, here's the rule. She can never come to life.
Yeah.
So what is the crux of these movies? She just shows up in a different place sitting still.
Love Annabelle.
Right.
Annabelle is cool. And I support her.
I did hear that Matt Healy is going on Annabelle's podcast, which is not a great look.
Griffin, this episode is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service dedicated to elevating great cinema from around the globe. From iconic directors to emerging auteurs, there's always something new to discover. And with Mubi, each and every film is hand-selected so you can explore the best of cinema streaming anytime, anywhere. Here are some movies that are hitting the platform in the U.S., okay? Starman, John Carpenter's Starman. We've covered it on this podcast. They're identifying this movie, the Future Tense, which was at all the festivals last year that I've been meaning to watch, from Joe Lawler and Christine Malloy. I'm clicking around right now. Stations of the Elevated, one of my favorite documentaries of all time, is streaming on Mubi. Being featured today, Hal Ashby's Shampoo, which I'm sure we'll cover one day. All kinds of fascinating stuff is always available to celebrate the release of their film Passages. They've got 3 Adele Exarchopoulos movies, Sybil and Orphan. They've got The Five Devils. They also have a movie called Zero Fucks Given. That sounds cool. Look, you can try Mubi free for 30 days at Mubi.com/blankcheck. That's MUBI.com/blankcheck for a whole month of great cinema for free. And you should do it. Mubi.com. All right. So the final act of so we have the shoe moment, which we've mentioned. Like, clearly Charlie thinks this is his I'm speaking the kill phrase. Right? You know what I mean? Where he's like, once she puts on the shoes, then where we've locked in serial killer or protege.
Like an MK Ultra like agent.
The thing is, it works.
Yes.
He does finally complete activating her.
She needed just another 5 inches of height.
Those are good shoes.
They are.
Yeah.
Good shoes.
And she seemingly is like, cool, bro. Yeah, let's go.
I get it.
I'll pack a bag.
Mhm.
Let's go on a murder spree around the country.
New York City, baby.
Right, exactly. Just if you could just, Kidman for me, that'd be great. And he's like, will do. See you in a minute. And while he's doing that is sort of the big turn, and you have all this stuff that's layered in of her with her dad.
Before that,
and Nicole Kidman's giving her big speech. Yes,
her big speech happens before she sends Charlie into the room with her.
After the shoes.
Right.
I believe.
It's sort of the following morning.
It's all right in the moment. Yeah, right.
She goes through and Kidman sees everything. She's like pieced it all together.
I think one of my favorite shots in the movie is for some reason this room has 2 doors. I don't know why it has 2 doors in, but Charlie's standing in one and it's open, and you know that Evie, is that her name? Is behind the other door and it's closed. And when he crosses behind the closed door, you know shit's about to happen. It's such an economic way of creating menace.
Yes. I just think Kidman fucking kills this monologue.
She does. Because Kidman does have the character in this movie where you're like, like Oscar winner here. Yes, of course she can, she can do this in her sleep.
And Nicole Kidman, she disappears kind of for 45 minutes.
After the first 20 minutes, right? She's not really in the movie, and you're kind of like, she's just playing the like patsy, she's playing the dumb.
Sort of like, this is like obvious casting. Like what would draw her to this? And it's all this monologue. It's that she gets to be the turnkey for the entire movie.
This movie got 4 Fangoria Golden Chainsaw Award nominations. I looked this up. Was Nicole Kidman one of them? I feel like she wasn't. Because she got a lot of, she was one of those people who got hype at the end of the year as like, this is one of those overlooked performances. And I hope Fangoria recognized her.
Let's see.
I do feel like there was this run of Nicole Kidman doing really interesting work in performances that people were like, in a cooler world, she would get an Oscar nomination for this. And between whatever it is, between The Hours and Rabbit Hole, she's just never getting the Oscar nomination that she wants, clearly.
She did not get nominated. I'm sorry. Lily Taylor won Best Supporting Actress that year for The Conjuring.
Deserves
a good win.
Sure, great.
Julianne Moore in the Carrie remake. Tristan Risk in something called American Mary. Amber Childers in something called We Are What We Are. I do like that the Golden Chainsaws do swerve. And then Julia Garner also in We Are What We Are.
Nicole Kidman got a Fright Meter Award nomination. I'm seeing here.
Good.
Yeah.
Very deserved. Worst film of the year went to Texas Chainsaw 3D. Rude. Conjuring really swept the chainsaws that year. That looks like.
I get it.
Good ass
get it.
movie.
I love The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Nicole's big monologue is basically.
I'm sorry, David. This is very important. The International Online Cinema Awards gave Nicole Kidman the win for Best Supporting Actress for their halfway awards. They can't wait till the end of the year, so they do an award for just the first half of the fucking year.
Now, have you heard of the International Cinephile Society?
No.
It is a hoity-toity group that gives lots of movies to international awards.
David's leaning back on this tangent, and I'm leaning in.
Do you know who started this organization?
Emily St. James?
David Sims.
What?
Why are you bringing that shit up?
It was
it is insane that it still exists.
And now they have like PR and they get written up everywhere.
What?
There was and on the Oscar forums there was a thing called Inoka, which was the yearly awards.
I've never seen this much shame on his face.
And David and a mutual friend of ours named Learned Foot.
Your old roommate.
Started
Learned Foot?
Not even Foot.
That is too deep a rabbit hole to go down right now.
Anyway,
that is his name.
He was created by Wentworth Miller.
He kind of was. Learned Foot does feel like, if I told you his life story, it does feel like he walked out of Wentworth Miller's script.
The unproduced one.
Learned and I did start the ICS as a rival to Inoka.
Fuck you to the Inokas, and now it is like this huge thing.
I know, like fucking Justin Chang is in the ICS, and I'm not.
I cannot believe I didn't know.
I think I stopped submitting my ballots years ago.
You're speaking about this like you're Robert Oppenheimer, and this was your atomic. You hate that you brought this into.
I'm glad they do their thing. I mean, it's totally great.
I was there for a long time too, and stopped submitting, and now I looked at it last year. I was like, how are all of these people in this? It's good work, David. You did it.
Yeah, I don't know why that came up. Oh, did Stoker get an ICS?
No, you said somebody said International Online Cinema Society, and that like pinged my David Sims radar.
Yeah, that was halfway awards. So you're actually father to 3 children.
It's just so. I was like 16 years old.
That was your first child.
Maybe I was old. Maybe I was in college.
The whale you adopted and abandoned.
You and Learned then
Yeah,
had shared. You and Learned had shared custody, and eventually you both abandoned the child to
go
Justin
be free.
Chang.
I was like Nicole Kidman in this movie being like, look, you got to do your own thing, but
I
I've
hate
always
my
wanted to
child.
watch you suffer.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy the ICS exists. You think I'm embarrassed by this? I'm not embarrassed exactly. It is just bizarre that it still exists.
I don't think you're embarrassed at all.
I did start it
This
when
is
I was
like
a teenager.
If I reveal when I was 15, I accidentally created fucking CSI Miami or something, and I'm like, it's just, I don't know.
The ICS
It
is
got
not
away
as
from me.
successful as CSI Miami.
I don't know. It was a mistake.
I feel like you'd be getting a lot of residuals if you create
I-
CSI
I
Miami.
would,
Whereas I don't.
yeah.
Do you get any residuals from the ICS?
No.
Okay,
Is there money to be made?
I don't think so.
Someone holds the copyright too.
Well, it ain't me. I'll tell you that much.
Shit.
I didn't do any work on that.
Who's this guy, Cedric?
He's an
Oh,
escort member. He was on the boards.
Yeah, he was on the
What
board.
was his name on the board?
Herman Russ, I think. Maybe.
Maybe.
I
I
don't
don't think so.
remember. I think he eventually changed to just Cedric because that was his first name.
Right.
And then I think he
Remember
left.
Jesus Alonso?
Yes.
How's he
Jesus
doing?
Alonso. You know what? I'm sure he's fine.
Okay, good. We'll talk about that later. All right. So,
We got to get you added to the About page.
Yeah.
Listeners,
ICS? Yeah, throw me on
flood
there.
their damn mailbox.
FYI, creator emeritus, David Sims. The end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Charlie's going to kill Evelyn.
Yes.
Good's going to kill Kidman.
Right.
And then he and India will go off together.
Yeah.
The first time you saw this film, did you assume the twist was coming? Like, did the sort of intercutting with, her and Dermot Mulroney looking through their guns, like, was that enough for you to kind of be like, nah, it ain't this? Like, this is not just like, the dawning of Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie.
I think what I like about this movie, and I think Director Park is particularly good at this. Handmaiden's another one that does this, where you're like, he's going to keep upending this so frequently
Right.
that I cannot predict.
It can't just be like what I think is
what
gonna
the
happen.
landing
Right,
point is,
right.
because it's not like he constructs movies around one twist. He constructs movies that keep on fundamentally changing your sense of the reality.
Right.
So I didn't think I could get ahead of this movie because I just didn't know what he was ultimately leading to.
Right.
But I like that Kidman sort of like it's the we need to talk about Kevin thing.
Yeah.
There's that early moment when after the funeral you hear the two women joking about like, and who's going to take care of her now? Her mother,
Mm-hmm.
the coldest woman alive.
Yeah, and they're talking about, and she's right there.
Right. And it's like, I do think she is inherently a somewhat cold person.
Yeah.
But also it's like, she just kind of immediately isn't just like, I hate my child
Mhm.
out of like some weird brokenness. It's just like, I have been scared of you forever.
Yeah.
I could not allow myself to get close to you. And I was terrified by everything I saw in you.
And I think everyone should have just benefited from some, group therapy,
Well,
family
they
trip
should've
to the
brought-
ice cream parlor.
Yeah.
They should have brought in Gabriel Byrne. as
Bring in
his,
right.
his
Get
in-treatment
everyone
character.
in.
Them
Every-
in treatment.
Because it was 4 different episodes,
Yes.
like a week, right? So you get Mia,
Yeah.
Nicole, Uncle Charlie, and Richard. You do them all, or maybe Auntie Jen, whatever.
It would be funny if season 3 of In Treatment was just Stoker.
Just in treatment, where
And
he's
then-
like my toughest case of all.
The last episode is him with his therapist, so it's just everybody's like, man, this family's fucked up. I
And
don't
his
know what to do
therapist
for
is
them.
played by Wentworth Miller, and he said, her name was India? Let me get that down right.
Yeah, right. And he's also, by the way, where are we?
Yeah.
How did I don't know. I just woke up in this room. I don't even know what city I'm in.
There's that premise in so many movies where like a psychiatrist is like going to write a book about their crazy patient who
Sure.
then kills them. I feel like that would be a perfect fit.
Absolutely.
Oh, if Byrne just at the end of the day.
Stoker, yeah.
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 I love how Gabriel Byrne in Hereditary
hmm
is secretly playing like a sitcom dad. Like
Yes.
nothing goes right for that dude in that movie.
Right.
The whole time he's just like, what the fuck is the matter with you? To like everyone. They're
Right.
like, what? He's
He's
like, Jesus Christ, you're all crazy. And then finally Tony Collette's like, we are crazy. A demon cursed us.
Right.
And he's like, will you shut up? I just need you to relax. And then he gets lit on fire.
But you play-
he accomplishes nothing.
You cast like inherently intense Gabriel Byrne to basically play Lydia's dad in Beetlejuice.
When
surrounded by
you really
weirdos.
do rewatch Hereditary and are like, this is a dark comedy, his character is the one who is the most befuddled comic character.
Absolutely.
Anyway, love Gabriel Byrne, who's not in this movie. No, instead
Matthew Good is shot, which Nicole Kidman is relieved by because now she's not going to get murdered by him, and then she has to kind of look at her daughter with terror and be like, I guess you're just let loose on the world now.
But see you later.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks
I never want to see you again.
Right.
There's a really good cut back to Nicole Kidman lying on her bed where you're just like, she's catatonic. This woman is just broken.
Yeah.
And then she leaves, and the sheriff pulls her over. It's like,
she lures him in
what's
by
the
speeding.
hurry? Right.
Yeah.
She's like, the hurry is to get you to pull me over. And he's like, what? And she's like,
She's got the fucking like Cool Hand Luke reflection in the sunglasses.
it's a great shot.
Yeah.
It's praxis.
And
Just
she
stabbing the cop in
the neck with pruning shears for no reason.
In 2013, people were like, what a dark action. And in 2023, you're like,
Yeah.
I will say, if I'm her serial killer advisor, I might not be like, don't kill the first cop you see.
Sure.
But I guess she's like, that'll tie up any loose ends if I murder the sheriff.
Uh-huh.
I would love a movie where you were a serial killer advisor. Like you were not a serial killer yourself.
Right.
But
Before
you were,
they do anything, they were like, oh, yeah, I was thinking about killing this sheriff. And I'm like, no, that's not the move.
I think that's cleaning up loose ends, but also I just imagine with the ending of this movie, she is about to murder every single person she talks to from here on out.
Let's play the box office game.
Okay.
I mean, great. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Before we play, I'm so sorry.
weird ass
Excuse me.
reading.
Exactly.
David.
Emily, please.
Main attraction.
So obviously I come into these shows and tell people how everything is about being trans.
Right.
Not this movie though. This movie has some weird gender shit. I am very drawn to movies about abuse that don't really make logical sense, but make sense if you start thinking of them as movies about someone who is part of an abusive family dynamic.
Metaphorical sense.
I love all of Ari Aster's films
Yes.
for that reason.
Right.
Like people who are watching them being like, Beau is afraid didn't make sense. No, of course, that's the fucking point. He's
Right.
trapped in this cycle. Yes.
Right. No, and I was gonna say the way that abuse alters your sense of reality, your sense of memories.
Yeah.
Like a sober, removed depiction does not get at the emotional truth.
And the problem with telling a story about abuse is that there's this book by Hanya Yanagihara, A Little Life, which is literally just very blunt about these characters were all abused and like goes into such detail. And the problem is once you start reading that much detail about abuse, it becomes a thing you detach from. You just fundamentally cannot appreciate it or understand it. So sort of like talking about it through genre, a genre exercise is the way to do it. And like, this is really a movie about the grooming and sexual abuse and violent abuse of this girl that turns her into an abuser herself. And her father's been grooming her, and her mother has been turning a blind eye to all of this. And
and a blind eye to everything.
And her
generally.
brother comes in and like, I don't know how much that's intentional on the part of Wentworth Miller, but Park Chan-Wook certainly seems dialed into it. And it's a movie about trying to sort of understand the ways in which the family that you were raised in is fucked up and failing and like getting trapped by that. I like movies that make sense in terms of trying to understand them as the character basically dissociating from themselves throughout. And that really feels what Indy is doing here. So I read this movie as a movie about coming to terms with the fact that you don't just live in a dysfunctional family, but you live in an actively toxic, abusive one that is creating violence and horror throughout the world. And that really plays into all of Park's strengths, like the editing, the way that things blend together, the way that nothing makes sense, the way that time sort of gets dilated, the way that flashbacks are intercut, almost like having repressed memories come back is just, it's really astonishing.
I agree. I think it's a great take.
It's very interesting to think about this because that all makes sense. And yet I'm also like, did Wentworth Miller, who may well have written this as like a deep expression of these things, these sorts of thoughts, or did he write it as like, no, I'm going to write a pure fucking Dracula revampy kind of like The Visitor from Out of Town, like, genre exercise.
Park really tapped into deeper things, but I think you do have to give Wentworth Miller credit for this script.
He has said that he hasn't been able to write again because like this just kind of, and I wonder
it was
if
like
this
the one thing in him
where he's expressing like,
now,
go ahead.
He did write one other film.
Okay.
The Disappointments Room. The
Oh,
Forgotten,
right.
which he wrote with DJ Caruso. Now, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about it.
He did some interview recently where he was like, I really struggled to write since, the early. And I wonder if he just like had this thing inside him he had to express, which often is like a lot of my writing before I got into like trauma therapy was literally like, if you listen to season 2 of Arden, it's just me processing a bunch of shit that happened to me without realizing I was doing that.
Yeah.
And all the people I worked with on that show were like, well, we assumed you knew. I wonder how much art is created out of a space of like, I don't want to look at this thing, but I'm going to write about it anyway.
I think a lot. And look, he's
talked about suffering from depression.
Yes,
since
he's
he
been
was a
very open with a
child.
lot of his mental health struggles, and
Yes.
it's very tied to why he has increasingly stepped back from the entertainment industry, first from being on camera, and even then from writing as much.
Wenty.
Wenty,
Write the script.
I think he's a good
Give
guy.
it a shot.
I think this movie's like, and that's interesting to think about in terms of how this movie presents mental illness, which is like a prison you can't escape from. Like you are trapped in this way of thinking just by virtue of how you were born, and it's impossible to fix or deal with. And sometimes you just have to stab the sheriff.
What's the final message then? Is Stoker, is old Indy about to have a great life?
Well,
has she made some breakthrough?
This is okay. Now I'm going off of what you're saying, right? But a thing I've been stewing on a lot recently is like, how doomed are you to become your parents or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
A classic
right.
theme in literature.
Right. But I think almost all children are either, whether consciously or unconsciously, living in the shadow of the model that was presented to them by the adults in their life, or trying to be the exact opposite of that, right? And this is a movie in which everyone, from the moment she's born, whether they're even a present for her birth, is sort of like, fuck, I see who she is. And everyone is trying to kind of shift her away from her innate being, right? They're sort of trying to like
Don't
defuse
replicate my
a
sins.
bomb before it goes off, right? Charlie's like spiritually trying to affect her from a distance. Her father is trying to find the outlet for her, and Nicole Kidman's like, I just need to disengage. And all three people fuck her up equally.
Yeah.
In different ways, all trying to find some way to control her behavior, make her in her image, push her away from who she innately is, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I do think that's the thing it's more speaking to, not like we're all inherently cursed, but the sort of like, as much as you try to control the outcome, the more you actually probably push along to an inevitability.
The problem with parental abuse is that it stems from I have a child now, so it stems from this idea of like, I need to help you do this thing. I need to and abuse just becomes, I am going to turn you into the person I think you need to be because I think I know what's best for you. Like right now I do know what's best for my daughter. I'm the only one who can feed her. She can't do it herself. But like, 10 years from now, that's not an appropriate way to treat her.
Yeah, I can't handle that. I don't like thinking about that. I'm always going to know what's best. Right?
Okay, yeah. You'll be the first 100% successful father.
That's why you're India's advisor.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's the thing I think this movie is really getting at. That, it's this sort of like, much like shit like werewolf stories, a lot of supernatural fiction is tied in this sort of like sins of the father, the bloodline, the familial trauma, the cycles that you cannot avoid. There is something nestled deep inside of you. Try to fight it as you might. It's there.
And the problem with the trauma plot as presented by Hollywood and is increasingly turned into a series of tropes, which
I think you have written very, very well on over the last couple of years.
I find really disquieting as somebody who's been through a lot of trauma therapy. The thing about it is, you turn it into a thing. The Marvel movies all do this. You can punch it at the end. And I think that's fine. There's a catharsis to that in a certain way. But I love the way, because I think a lot of Parks movies are about this way that you get trapped in an experience you can never escape. And I think that's why I love him. I remember when Decision to Leave was coming out, it got a lot of Oscar buzz because Bong Joon-ho, of course, had huge success with Parasite. Bong Joon-ho is very good at catharsis. Like, I'm not trying to say that in terms of like he makes, less good movies. I think catharsis is an important thing. I think the thing that will keep Park Chan-wook from ever being as big as he is in America is he makes movies that leave you feeling really unresolved and gooey and weird.
His endings are unsettling. He sticks you in the place you hoped you'd get out of.
Right, right.
He puts you in the hole and starts to like dig the sand on top of you.
Yeah. India cannot escape her family.
No.
And I can tell you it's really fucking hard to escape your family. You have to work really hard. You have to consciously work really hard. Most people don't want to do that. And most people have pretty good families. So you pick up a couple bad things from your parents and then you maybe think about them in therapy. But there are some people who are just raised in hell and never escape.
Yeah. No, it's, it's scary, which most good horror is tapping into something so innate in our being, some universal sort of element of the human experience in that kind of way. And I think this movie, through everything you're saying, does that. I mean, and talking about the trauma plot thing, not to spoil another movie, and I'll speak about this as vaguely as possible for a 10-year-old film I've talked about a lot on this podcast, but I'm like, Babadook's a movie that does that fucking well, where it's like, you have to live with it.
Yeah.
You can defeat it in a way that resolves the movie, but it's never vanquished.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of what we call so-called elevated horror is about this, is about realizing that trauma is unresolvable.
Right.
And to a certain degree, you can learn to live with it, and you can learn to be a better person that has it lurking inside of you.
Right.
I do think there's an alternate read of this movie that is in essence like all vampire stories about the ways that rich people are perpetuating trauma on the world. So it's sort of like Succession, Park Chan-Wook's Succession. But yeah, I think this movie is fundamentally about abuse and the ways that abuse replicates itself. And every character in this movie is abusive on some level or another.
Yeah. Yes. And also it's just like the fundamental tragedy of this movie is like,
Not Aunt Jen. She's all right.
Yeah, she's the one good person.
Yeah.
She's all right. She never did anything
I feel like Jackie Weaver should just play the one good person a lot of the time. Obviously, she isn't in some movies. But.
the fundamental tragedy of this movie in my mind is that no one ever figures out how to talk to her. Right? You're like, the thing that really dooms her is everyone is, as you're saying, going, I think I know what's best for her. And you get the sense of like, no one actually is really listening to her. No one really knows how to talk to her, relate to her. They're only viewing her as a problem or an accomplice or, you know?
The tragedy of parent-child relationships is how often you cannot see your parents or your child as a person until it's too late.
Yeah. Well said.
Stoker premiered at the Sundance Film Festival 2013. Released in March by Fox Searchlight. Didn't expand beyond 275 theaters. Nobody really saw it.
This is very much the kind
Fairly
of movie
mixed reception.
I think people thought might have like breakout potential in a sort of post Black Swan. This is art house horror kind of world.
And it had this very like, you know, welcome to the family. You know, these sort of posters of them all standing there.
What is the twist in this thing? You imagine if A24 released this today, it would make $10 million easily. This is the exact kind of movie that like there is now a model for that they know how to market, where even if people were mixed on it, the fact that like Men gets to $10 million domestic is like, well, they made it a conversation piece, whereas Stoker, people are just like, eh.
Babadook's 2014, and that's kind of the start of that wave. So this just fucking missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a version of this movie being a hit, but
I want to repeat that Men made $10 million domestic.
Amen. Well, you know, fucking Angus T. Jones showed up for it to sing the theme song. I don't know.
Men.
That will be stuck in your head for a week now. Yeah, and review the thing. I assume they were hoping there would be like raves that could help propel it, and instead the reaction was very mixed.
Right,
so that probably didn't help.
I remember this getting very bad reviews, and instead it got like there were people who fucking loved it.
There were some raves and a lot of like, a lot of that.
But once again, I think people who disliked it were like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
There was a lot of like flipping over a table, like this is bullshit.
So
what was the widest it went?
275 screens.
Wow,
not very good.
No.
So obviously on this box office game on March 1st, 2013, it's opening number 33, 7 screens, $160,000.
Okay.
Number one though, it's just one of the most forgotten blockbusters in history.
2013.
Yep.
Is it? It's not 10,000 BC.
No.
But it's close.
10,000 BC is like fucking Citizen Kane compared to this thing.
Fuck.
No, it's okay. Directed by a sex offender, or alleged, I should say, alleged sex offender.
It's not a Brett Ratner.
Nope.
Is it Jack the Giant Slayer?
It's Jack.
Well, yeah.
The Giant Slayer.
That was that people went and saw that.
Like an anemic number one, right?
$27 million,
right? Which was
so
like
not
a
very
calamity because it cost $200 million.
It was expensive because they had to make all them giants.
Yes.
Have not seen.
You know what's wild about
Did
that?
Make 200
movie?
Worldwide.
I know, and they were like, "We're all gonna lose our shirts on this."
Because
you're like, how badly do you miscalibrate a fucking Jack the Giant Slayer movie that $200 million is a calamity? Not just an underperformance, but a calamity. divisions are going to get like completely shut down at Warner Brothers because of this movie.
And it also feels like Jack and the Beanstalk is one of those stories that people have kept trying to make into
Right.
a thing, and it never
Like,
works.
who gives a shit?
It feels like it should work.
Yes.
He climbs up a beanstalk and kills a giant. It's golden.
I just
Up and
feel
back.
like anytime someone's like, have I got a pitch for you?
Yeah.
You know that fairy tale? I'm like, no, get the
No.
fuck out of here. That's not a blockbuster.
I've definitely said this before on the podcast, but just
Everyone knows Jack and the Beanstalk. So what?
so what?
That doesn't mean they're like, I gotta see that.
Right.
I do
Everyone
want to
else,
see a big beanstalk.
everyone
That sounds
also
fun.
knows diarrhea. We've all met diarrhea. We don't want to see a fucking movie about it. There are a lot of bad things we all know.
Speaking of diarrhea, number 2 at the box office.
I
No.
just want to. I want to say the one thing that is
What?
insane to consider, with everything we know now.
What?
Bryan Singer attaches himself developing Jack the Giant Slayer, and then he's like, "I'm ready to return to X-Men. I'm going to do X-Men First Class."
Yeah.
They wanted him to do X-Men First Class, and Warner Brothers was like, "We will sue you if you leave Jack the Giant Slayer. We need to make Jack the Giant Slayer."
we need you to do it.
That movie could have been shut down so easily.
Right.
Everyone would have
Everyone could have gotten out of this.
Right. And two studios were fighting over who got to make a $200 million movie by a guy who doesn't like showing up on set.
Number 2 at the box office.
Yes.
A comedy hit. In its 4th week, it has made $107 million.
Is it Identity Thief?
It is Identity Thief
People
with
forget
Melissa McCarthy.
how robust the McCarthy run was.
And Bateman, right?
The Bateman's era of, what's the title of the movie?
Playing the guy who's like,
Well, that, obviously.
Playing the
Basters.
Tie a little loosen.
playing the Mia Wasikowska on the My Crazy Uncle poster.
Yes. Bateman, despite never feeling like a comedy A-list movie star, had a surprisingly solid run in comedy movies right before they ended, and he just went to prestige streaming TV before anyone.
And then he won the Emmy for directing Ozark and made the Identity Thief poster face when he won.
Best director alive.
Smartless.
Yeah, but I was going to say, it is funny. You look at the title of the Jason Bateman hits, and they are all just first pass titles. What's this movie about? Horrible bosses, an identity thief, game night,
So good in game.
office Christmas party. Every one of them is just.
You're not wrong.
the
There
title
was
is-
not a lot of focus groups.
I think he kind of cracked it though, where it's like, you know exactly what this movie is. The title's
Couples
describing
therapy.
the thing, and Jason Bateman's head tilted. And
He's
you're
in
like,
couples therapy.
"Hey, he's
right?
a good straight. I want to see that guy struggle around that thing. Yes.
We're moving on to number 4 at the box office. No,
Sure.
sorry, number 3 at the box office.
Mhm.
New this week. Teen comedy, or not teen, actually, because it's about people turning a certain age. This is a forgotten.
Well,
film.
Man of a Certain Age was a TV show.
Not a bad one.
21 and over.
21 and over.
I forgot that movie.
John
entirely.
Lucas and Scott Moore's directorial debut.
One of the.
Starring the big 3, Miles Teller, Skylar Astin, and Justin Shawn.
Yeah.
What if the men from Men of a Certain Age starred in 21 and over?
I
If it was
wish.
Brower, Romano,
Right.
whatever the other guy.
Too
I
old.
think 21 and over with a sort of supernatural big style twist of they've been waiting to be old enough to drink their whole life, and now they're getting it in middle age. Like they all wake up and they're 47, but their IDs work.
I mean, how much do you think 21 and over made domestic?
25?
Number 4 at the box office is maybe Dwayne Johnson's best film performance that's not
Pain and
like
Gain.
Pain and Gain.
Oh,
That's
fuck.
not Pain and Gain. Best starring role. Highly underrated film.
This
I
is
think
not
you
right,
like
but
this
Southland
film.
Is it
Tales.
Snitch?
Not Southland Tales, which is a good movie. But I feel like he's sort of supporting in that. I mean, it's an ensemble piece. The film is Snitch.
Right, Snitch I love.
Rick Roman was Smith.
John
Snitch.
Bernthal
Snitch.
is fucking unbelievable.
That is an early Bernthal where you're like, this guy,
Right.
Like, what the fuck? You
Right.
know, the guy from The Class is going off here.
Yes. No, that's a
This house is not well built, guy.
yes. I was like, is he
Turned into a bodybuilder.
should he be winning an Oscar for this performance? He's quietly the lead of the movie, and he's unbelievable.
Yeah. Snitch fun.
Yeah,
All right,
Snitch
number
good.
5, a horror sequel with a hilarious title.
Hilarious.
Sort of an oxymoronic title.
Oxymoronic. Is it because it has like dead and alive in the same thing?
No.
Something like that. What?
No,
Horror
not
sequel.
that
Is it a
one.
2?
It's a 2. It's a part 2.
And it's a subtitle.
No.
Is it The Last Exorcism 2?
Oh, okay.
The Last Exorcism part 2. You told me it was The Last Exorcism.
They should have pulled the marigold and call it the second to last exorcism or something like that. You just own it, you know?
That's number 5. Opening number 5. Not very good job. You've also got something called Escape from Planet Earth. What the fuck is that?
That's a Brendan Fraser Weinstein Company animated film.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Something called Safe Haven. Is that like a...
That's the insane
That's
Lassie
Julianne Hough,
Hallstrom,
right?
Julianne Hough, Josh Duhamel.
Correct.
Lassie Hallstrom just directed it.
It's a Sparks. It's a Sparks.
There's like a weird twist in it.
It has quite a twist.
What's that? 9/11.
Yeah. All of them.
Haven wasn't so safe after all.
Right. Josh Duhamel was 9/11. She fell in love with the embodiment of 9/11.
What is the
No,
twist?
it's a thing. Kobe Smulders.
Someone's a ghost.
Kobe
Someone's a
Smulders
ghost. Cobes
Julianne
is a
Hough
ghost.
moves to this town, and Kobe Smulders is her like best friend in the romantic drama, giving her advice on dating this guy. And then you find out it is Duhamel's dead wife who's
Who's
spoken.
nudging her towards like make my
So he's
husband
happy.
happy. Right.
Yeah.
Nicholas Sparks wrote it. He saw The Sixth Sense and woke up in like a blind like panic and just
Right.
like wrote this book in a morning.
Yes.
Safe haven. She's nudging him to a safe haven.
What if a haven was safe?
Also, you've got A Good Day to Die Hard.
Bad.
Silver-
Or like a bad day to die hard.
Okay, I agree. Silver Linings Playbook.
Still-
Still hanging around after 4 or 5 months.
That movie was a big hit.
It was.
Jesus.
People just wanted to see Robert De Niro going, hey, gotta gamble.
The others.
I bet the Eagles again.
I remember my dad being like, that's really not working at the box office after it had been out for like 2 months. And I was like, watch, the second it gets the fucking Oscar nominations, Weinstein's going to like throttle this thing. He's going to hit the NOS
He
button.
did it. He hit the NOS
And
button.
suddenly it then made like another $110 million.
And you've also got Dark Skies, the Kerry Russell alien horror movie.
I fully
Everyone's-
forgot about
I think it's come
that
up on this
existing.
podcast before, and
yeah.
you do not know what it is.
It's not a good
Barely.
movie, but I like it.
Oh, you
I
like
feel it's not good. I feel similarly about it to the fucking
Blumhouse.
Dreamcatcher movie, where like
Dreamcatcher's good.
That's David's favorite.
I've seen that movie like 6 times.
I've
I
seen
don't know
it
why.
like 3 times, but still more than once. Stoker, we're done talking about that. Yeah, it didn't really go anywhere, and Park takes a few years off, I would say, because Handmaiden is what, 2018?
Yeah.
2016.
You're right, it's 20, so it doesn't take
Okay.
that long
No.
off. And also,
And that's a
remake-
real Amazon in their sort of like, we're patrons of the arts. We're giving good filmmakers more money than anyone else would give them to do weird things.
And the thing about that movie is he adapts what people thought was an unadaptable book and totally changes its context. which
Right,
is-
he completely
yeah.
messes with it, which
Amazing.
is probably what was the move.
Makes
It's
a
the best
masterpiece. I agree. And also to your point, maybe the only Park Chan-Wook movie with like a happy ending.
Yeah.
For how fucked up most of that movie is.
Yeah, that's
It does
the-
kind of
yeah.
leave you on a good note.
That's the one movie that has catharsis because the only way women can be happy is to be with each other.
Yeah.
It's
And
true.
to do a bad murder.
Yeah, murder or lesbians.
Emily,
Or
don't tell them that on mic. I'm single. I'm trying to. If they know that other women are an option, what chance do I have? Emily, I feel like you have 1,000 things to plug.
I do. Can I tell you an Aaron Sorkin story?
Yes.
I feel like I save up anecdotes for when I come on here, like I'm fucking somebody going on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and just like my random encounters with celebrity culture.
I like to imagine Ben like pre-interviewing you and being like, "That's a good couch story." Yeah.
A couple years ago, Being the Ricardos was about to come out. It was the day that the trailer dropped, but also the day that he gave an interview where he was like, I couldn't find someone Cuban American to play Ricky. You know, that's just too hard.
By the way, Being the Ricardos being released is like Nicole Kidman letting India Stoker leave her home. Just be like, just go out. I can't control the damage you'd cause anymore.
Hola, Lucy. It was just weird that he was like, I'm going to play it like Salazar. And Sorkin was like,
His face was deteriorating.
But I did a tweet that was basically like, I can't believe Aaron Sorkin is redoing Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, but about I Love Lucy. So this idea that this TV show's that important is actually true.
Right.
So he gets to be like self-important about it. Anyway, I just did the tweet, forgot about it. That afternoon, Aaron Sorkin emailed me, and I like confirmed this with other people who've emailed with him. And he just writes to me and he's like, wait until you see the movie. You never know. And I like agonized over how to respond to this. So this is the thing that I write back to him. Think about this all day. Mr. Sorkin, I am a trans woman, and I worry not infrequently about if the world actually sees me as a woman, which is to say getting a random email from you in response to a shitpost tweet I made in about 5 seconds was an incredibly validating experience. Best of luck on the movie.
Did Mr. Sorkin reply?
He wrote back, indeed, and I had mentioned at the end of that, I like Jessica Chastain in Molly's Game.
Incredible
And
performance.
he said, couldn't agree more about Jessica. Be well, and I hope I get to meet you one day. We haven't actually met, but I was
You
like,
should meet him.
There's two resolutions.
Yes.
There's two resolutions to this story, which is one, I start dating Aaron Sorkin,
Sure.
or two, he writes a movie where a trans woman falls into a pool, and I'm like, that was me. I inspired that.
I think the latter is better for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't wish for you to date Aaron Sorkin, I would say.
I feel like Aaron Sorkin and I would have a real great contentious
The
relationship.
banter would be great.
The banter would be.
Well, you nailed that
amazing.
email.
Yeah, thank you. That was my plug.
Yeah, you're the best writers out there. Everything
Thank
you do, be it email,
Yeah.
be it long form writing, journalistic writing, be it fiction writing.
Yeah.
It's all excellent.
Yeah.
Completely
I'm
forgot the ICS. Forgot
yeah.
about that ship.
Yeah. I didn't start the ICS, which is too bad. I wish I had.
Could have plugged. Anyone who started that would probably be.
if you could turn back time, maybe.
Anyone who started that would probably be so proud. They'd be bringing it up at all times.
Cinephile Society. I mean, honestly, sounds like something a teenager came up with.
You can find me on Twitter still at Emily St. Jams. I'm also on Blue Sky if you're on that at that name. It's good. It's a good site. I'm on the co-host the podcast like it's 1992, where we're talking about the movies of 1992, having
buddy
a
Phyllis
blast.
Cove. Yeah.
Yeah, having a blast on that show. I write on the TV show Yellow Jackets. I worked there one day.
Hey.
So, but it counts. They paid me.
It counts.
Yeah, you should go watch that. It's on
Look.
Showtime. Arden still exists. I'm not on that anymore, but you can listen to
It's
it
out
and
there.
enjoy it. It's
we're,
fun.
We're recording this far out enough in advance that the hope is that maybe by the time this episode comes out, the writer's
strike will
strike
be
has
over.
resolved itself and you will be back in the writer's strike.
Possible. Yeah, this is coming out August 20th.
Yeah, by then,
Be
like
nice.
everybody will be on strike. The country will be on strike.
Right.
It'll be great.
Joe Biden's on strike.
I also
But Zaslav still just is like, no.
Yeah.
Next, though.
Max.
Just got to perfect it
The
first.
one where you watch HBO.
I also sold a novel that's coming out in January 2025, which is when I will next be on the podcast.
Hey,
I'm just
no.
calling my shot.
Sooner.
So-
I forgot to mention, Ben and I went out on Sunday night and stayed out too late, but missed the Sunday night. So just to really carbonate this episode,
Oh, yeah. You guys couldn't even watch the fucking Succession
my
finale.
marathon last night was back to back to back watching Succession finale, Barry finale, Stoker. It left me in a very specific headspace.
Stoker's kind of chill compared to those other two. in a way.
I still haven't seen the Succession finale because I came to town to see Taylor Swift. And
Ooh.
she was at the same time
Yeah.
as the Succession finale. And I'm going to get her on this show. I promise.
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Absolutely.
Come
Yeah.
on, blank check, Taylor.
Yeah. Should we bleep all of that out?
Yes, and we should probably commit suicide.
Yep, absolutely. On mic.
Oh, we're doing the best we've ever done,
It's
and this has been a
killing
great
it.
episode in our great
You're the
series
best,
about Park
Emily.
Chan-Wook.
Thank you. Thank
Been
you.
too
And actually,
long. We'll have you on again sooner. We're not going to wait for
you
the
know
book.
what? 2022
Yeah.
was the year you didn't have an Emily on this podcast. And if you're not going to have me or Yoshida, you got to
Yeah.
get a different, you got to get Blunt, you got to get Nussbaum, you got to get somebody. You got to get an Emily every year.
Blunt?
I saw Blunt on
Blunty?
the street the other day.
Wow.
She fucking looked
At you?
unbelievable. She did, but she looked at me sort of like she was trying to find the entrance to Italy. And she
There's
couldn't.
so many entrances.
That was the thing. And she couldn't find the right door. And then she was looking around and she like clocked me directly in the sort of like, do you know where? And I just like withered. But I'm not even saying like, oh, she looked really hot. She looked like the coolest person I have ever seen.
My friend,
She's very cool.
My friend Crystal, co-creator Arden, once used to work at the ArcLight and would like serve her and John Krasinski often, and they'd just be like totally chill, going to see a movie vibes.
Come on.
Very beautiful people.
Come on the pod.
Come on the pod.
Come on the pod.
Gotta get an
Quiet
Emily every
Place
year.
Part 2 recently.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Let's do our
Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you to Marie Barty for our social media and helping to produce the show. Thank you to JJ Birch for our research. We had to shift the schedule around wildly because Emily was going to be in town last second, so JJ had to pull this dossier together very, very quickly.
Thank you, JJ.
Thank you for the fast turnaround on that. Thank you to AJ McKeon and Alex Barron for bleeping out the thing that David said that we definitely don't want going out over the airwaves. Thank you to Leigh Montgomery and the Great American Novel for our theme song. Joe Bow and Pat Reynolds for our artwork. You can go to blankcheckpod.com for links to some real nerdy shit, including our Patreon Blank Check special features where we do commentaries on film series and other sort of bonus stuff. We're going to be doing the little drummer girl over there, the aforementioned, his only other English language work, the AMC miniseries. And schedule-wise, Ben, at the time this is coming out, are we tail end of Oceans, or are we on to the next thing we're doing?
Let's see. I'm looking ahead at our schedule, and I am seeing that this comes out on August 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Good
means
stalling.
that we are now in the midst of our oceans.
We're traveling. We're swimming across the oceans. We're doing
And
laps.
As far as the archive of Patreon that we opened
Yes,
up.
our free Patreon membership where every 10 days we unlock an episode from 3 years ago.
We are now into Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
We're zooming.
Yeah, baby.
Literally, those are episodes we're on Zoom. Tune in next week for The Handmaiden. I cannot fucking wait. One of my favorite movies of the last 10 years.
Can I shout out something?
Please.
The Blankies Discord, one of the nicest places on the internet.
I never go there.
Just chill people in there. And compared to like every other thing, just, anytime a thing gets a fan base, the fans are like whatever. Discord's really nice, really chill.
That's very nice to hear.
Yeah.
That's keep it up.
Yeah, good work, everybody.
But also, let's not give them too much praise because maybe they'll start to get cocky and they'll curdle and turn to an awful place.
Yeah, keep it up, but don't keep it up too much.
Stay humble. You could always be better. And as always, remember to flood the International Cinephile Society inbox to get David added to the About page.